Chapter 520. Of course, although Shui Bing was very beautiful, Lu Yuan was also used to seeing beautiful women. After a glance, he withdrew his gaze. May I know what the two of you are here for? Could it be that you want to fight with me like Miss Fire Dance? Looking at Shui Bing, in front of him, Lu Yuan smiled slightly. No, no. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Bing hurriedly waved her hand and said, You and I are just here to make friends. Right, Yua? Saying that, Shui Bing patted Shui Yu, who was beside her again. Yes, Prince Charming, we're here to make friends with you. Shui Yu blinked her ice-blue eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. Her white and rosy face was like a red apple, bright and lovely. Prince Charming, you are so handsome. Shui Yu looked straight at Lu Yuan's face with a love-struck look. Hee, you're also very cute. Hearing this, Lu Yuan laughed softly. Is that so? Prince Charming, do you really think I am cute? Being praised by Lu Yuan, Shui Yu's face quickly surged with joy and quickly asked. Seeing Shui Yu's surprised look, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly and said softly, Yes, you are indeed very cute. Yeah. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Yu immediately exclaimed happily, her face blooming with a brilliant smile. She grabbed Shui Bing's hand and said with a tone of unconcealable joy, Sister, did you hear that? Prince Charming praised me for being cute. I heard. Shui Bing helplessly shook her head. But you can't you be more reserved? This sister of mine really doesn't have the slightest bit of a girl's reserve. Love-struck fool. Seeing Shui Yu's appearance, Fire Dance couldn't help but curl her lips. Who are you calling a love-struck fool? You tomboy. Hearing Fire Dance call her a love-struck fool, Shui Yu immediately mocked back. Because of Shui Bing, she didn't have a good impression of Fire Dance. You dare to call me a tomboy? Being called a tomboy by Shui Yu who only felt anger rising in her heart. She glared at Shui Yu with her fiery red eyes and said, Say that again if you have the ability. I'll say it again. You unruly, stubborn, and hot-tempered tomboy. Look at yourself. You don't look like a woman at all. Look at my sister. She's gentle and intelligent, with a slim figure. That's what a woman is. A woman should act like a woman. But I don't think you'll understand that in your lifetime. After all, you are a tomboy. Shui Yu sized up Fire Dance from head to toe. Her red lips parted slightly, and her tone carried a trace of disdain. Creak. Hearing Shui Yu's words, Fire Dance clenched her fists so tightly that her knuckles cracked. She glared at Shui Yu as if she was about to spit fire. You love-struck fool, do you want to fight with me? TSK, you only know how to fight all day, and you still say you're not a tomboy. Shui Yu did not panic in the slightest in the face of Huo Wu's fiery gaze. Instead, she had a calm expression on her face. Her mouth was slightly curled, and there was a trace of disdain on the corners of her mouth. After being ridiculed by Shui Yu Fire Dance was furious. Clenching her fists, she took a step forward as if she wanted to pounce on Shui Yu Hey, little sister, calm down, calm down. Seeing that Fire Dance really wanted to hit Shui Yu Huo Wushuang hurriedly pulled her back. This was Lu Yuan's territory. It wasn't appropriate for them to fight here. Stop talking. Shui Yu hurriedly called out to Shui Yu At the same time, her figure moved slightly, and she stood in front of Shui Yu facing Fire Dance. Fire Dance's temper was irritable. She was afraid that Fire Dance would suddenly pounce on Shui Yu and hurt her. After all, Shui Yu's strength was inferior to Fire Dance's by a large margin. Seeing the tense atmosphere, Lu Yuan could not help but shake his head slightly. What kind of people were these? They couldn't even speak a few words, and they wanted to fight. Could this be the legendary fire and water are incompatible? Both of you, please calm down and don't fight. Can you give me some face? Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and stood between the two parties as he said faintly, Okay, Prince Charming, I'll naturally do as you say. Then, I'll be magnanimous and won't bicker with this tomboy. Looking at Lu Yuan, Shui Yuer giggled. Creak. Hearing Shui Yuer call her a tomboy again, Fire Dance couldn't help but clench her fist again. Little sister, calm down. Seeing Fire Dance's appearance, Huo Shuang hurriedly comforted her. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan also turned his gaze to Fire Dance. Under Lu Yuan's gaze, Fire Dance clenched her fists, her chest heaving up and down as if she were suppressing her emotions. After a moment, Fire Dance took a deep breath, temporarily suppressing the anger in her heart. She looked at Lu Yuan and said, Okay, I'll give you face today and not bicker with this love-struck fool. However, don't forget our agreement. Of course, when the time comes, I'll naturally go up and fight with your Blazing Fire Academy. Lu Yuan chuckled. Okay, remember your words. Fire Dance said indifferently, glancing at Shui Yu, and Shui Bing, with an unfriendly gaze. She then turned to Huo Shuang and said, Big brother, let's go back. Okay. Hearing this, Huo Shuang inwardly breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that his little sister would fight with Shui Yu and Shui Bing here. Now that she was willing to go back, it was a good thing. Then, Brother Lu, we'll take our leave first. Huo Shuang cupped his hands at Lu Yuan. Brother Wu Shuang, take care. Lu Yuan said. Huo Shuang nodded and left with Fire Dance. We should also go. Seeing the siblings leave, Shui Bing tilted her head slightly and said to Shui Yu beside her, Ah, big sister, we've only been here for a while. Why don't we stay a little longer? Shui Yu softly said. There was a trace of reluctance in her voice. Okay, Yu be good. The opening ceremony will begin in a while. We have to go back and prepare. I'll bring you back next time. Okay? Shui Bing softly said as she patted Shui Yu's head. Okay then. Shui Yu pouted and looked at Lu Yuan with reluctance. Prince Charming, we'll be leaving first. We'll come and play with you next time. Okay, take care. Lu Yuan faintly smiled and said, Goodbye. Shui Bing softly said. She then pulled the somewhat reluctant Shui Yu and went straight to the northeast corner of the Skywater Academy. Looking at the two's departing figures, Lu Yuan withdrew his gaze and walked lightly. He casually found a seat and sat down. Next should be the opening ceremony. Chapter 521. Brother, when will the opening ceremony begin? Wang Qiu was lying on Lu Yuan's back in the resting area. She hugged Lu Yuan's neck tightly and looked around with her pinkish blue eyes. Her red lips parted slightly, and her crisp voice entered Lu Yuan's ears. What's wrong, little Qiu? Are you impatient? Lu Yuan smiled and said softly when he heard Wang Qiu's words. Yes, it's so boring waiting here. We've waited for more than half an hour, and the opening ceremony hasn't started yet. This competition is progressing so slowly. Wang Qiu pouted and said softly, It can't be helped. There are too many people. We have to wait until all the academies have arrived and everything has been arranged properly. That old man Snowy Night Emperor and the leaders of some forces have also arrived before the opening ceremony can begin. However, it's about time. It's already past 8. The opening ceremony should be starting soon. Lu Yuan smiled and said, Is that so? Brother, you said the same thing half an hour ago. You said that the opening ceremony would begin soon, but we're still waiting here. Lu Yuan had just finished speaking when Wang Qiu's voice sounded. Cough. Lu Yuan coughed when he heard Wang Qiu's words. He rubbed his nose and felt a little awkward. He had originally thought that the opening ceremony would begin at 8. However, he didn't expect them to be so slow. It was almost 8:30, and they still hadn't started. Sigh, I overestimated their efficiency. In the end, I was a little embarrassed by my dear sister's words. Lu Yuan sighed in his heart. However, the resting area was almost full. Lu Yuan was sure that the opening ceremony was about to begin. Lu Yuan glanced around. At the entrance to the resting area, staff members came in to arrange for the teams to enter. All right, Qiu. Look, we're about to enter. Lu Yuan smiled as he pointed at the staff members. It's true. It's finally about to begin. Wang Qiu's smile blossomed when she saw this scene. She was elated. This girl, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh as he shook his head when he sensed Wang Qiuer's excitement. She was still like a kid. Even though she had lived for thousands of years, she was still very innocent. When Zhu Zhuqing, Hulina, and the others were 12 or 13 years old, they were already quite sensible. But then again, being sensible was good, but being pure was also commendable. Lu Yuan was very fond of Wang Qiuer's purity and innocence. He loved this cute little sister of his very much. Lu Yuan patted Wang Qiuer's hand and raised his voice as he said to everyone around him, "All right, everyone, get ready. We'll be entering the arena soon." "Yes, Captain." As soon as Lu Yuan's voice fell, a uniform voice sounded out of nowhere. "Little Qiuer, come down. It's time to enter the arena." Lu Yuan smiled and whispered to Wang Qiuer, who was lying on top of him. "Oh, all right then." Wang Qiuer replied. She reluctantly climbed up from Lu Yuan's back and took 2 steps forward to stand beside Lu Yuan. Even though this little golden centipede had transformed into a human, it still liked to stick to Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan rubbed Wang Qiuer's head. His eyes flashed as he looked at the staff members who were walking towards them. "Hello, is this the Heavenly Star Academy's team?" A staff member came in front of everyone and asked softly. "Yes," Lu Yuan said. "It's time for your academy to enter the arena. Please follow me." The staff member said. "Thank you." Lu Yuan nodded at the staff member and turned around slightly. "Everyone, follow me." "Yes, Captain." Everyone replied in unison. The group of people followed the staff member's lead and stepped into the entrance tunnel. "Wow, there's so many spectators," Ning Rongrong exclaimed in surprise as she looked at the countless cheering spectators in the spacious arena. There should be tens of thousands of people here. This Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament is indeed popular, Lu Yuan said as he casually glanced at the crowd. "Yes." Ning Rongrong nodded gently. Her beautiful eyes scanned the area. Suddenly, her gaze froze. "Lu Yuan, look, my father is here too. He's in the VIP area." Holding Lu Yuan's hand, Ning Rongrong pointed to a remodeled VIP area at the back of the central arena. She exclaimed in surprise. Lu Yuan glanced at the people in the VIP area and took in all the people in the VIP area. He was familiar with Ning Fengji, the sect leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, the platinum bishop of the Martial Soul Temple, Sakas, the fat pig-like Prince Shuiyi, the white-haired old man with a crown on his head, Emperor Shuiyi, and his share, who was disguised as the Empire's crown prince, Shuiqinghe. Even Douluo, who had been following him all this while, had snuck into the VIP area. "Lu Yuan, do you see him?" Ning Rongrong asked as she patted Lu Yuan's arm. "Yes, I see him. Not only do I see your father, but I also see Elder Douluo. This fellow runs pretty fast. He slipped into the VIP area when I wasn't paying attention." Lu Yuan glanced at Douluo behind him and laughed softly. Douluo smiled when she saw Lu Yuan's gaze. Her lips parted slightly as she said, "Grandfather said that the various powers have representatives in the VIP area. The Dragon King Hall should have one too. The Dragon Emperor doesn't like to show his face, so Grandfather can only go up himself." "Yes, Elder Douluo is very thoughtful." Lu Yuan nodded his head when he heard Douluo's explanation. Indeed, Yin Xiaozhe and Douluo were the only ones in charge of the Dragon King Hall. Long Xiaoyao and Ma Xiaodao basically didn't care about anything. They were more like bodyguards. While Long Xiaoyao was in charge of the Law Enforcement Hall, he didn't interfere much in the matters of the Law Enforcement Hall. The Feng, Hua, Lei, and Jin captains were the ones who discussed and acted. Only very important matters would be handled by Long Xiaoyao. Therefore, Douluo was the only one who could send a representative to the VIP area, given that Yin Xiaozhe was staying in the Dragon King Palace to guard the residence. It had to be said that Douluo was quite clear about his position. Lu Yuan was very proud of his decision to recruit Douluo back then. He didn't make a wrong decision. Douluo was very good at doing things. Douluo couldn't help but smile when she heard Lu Yuan praise Douluo for his thoughtfulness. It wasn't easy to be praised by the Hall Master. Over the past 3 months, they had been scolded badly. After all, their cooperation at the start of their training was terrible. They had been scolded a lot because of that. Even she had been scolded more than once. She was used to it. Today, she was a little surprised to hear Lu Yuan praise them. Chapter 522. Everyone continued to move forward. Soon, they stepped out of the entrance tunnel and walked into the plaza. The plaza was very large, with a diameter of more than 150 meters. It looked very spacious. In the center of the plaza was a rostrum. Behind the rostrum was the VIP area where Ning Fengji and the others were. Below the rostrum, the teams that had entered the plaza had already lined up neatly. Every time a team entered, there would be a special MC to introduce them. Next up is the Heavenly Star Academy. The Heavenly Star Academy was originally called the Blue Tyrant Academy, but changed its name to the Heavenly Star Academy a year ago. The Heavenly Star Academy has a total of 9 contestants. Their captain is called Lu Yuan. Maybe everyone doesn't know the name Lu Yuan, but I'm sure everyone is familiar with the name Huang Long. That's right, this Lu Yuan is Huang Long, the person who won 30 consecutive victories in our Heaven Do Great Soul arena 4 years ago. He set the record of obtaining a purple gold soul emblem in a month. Huang Long was able to set such a dazzling record 4 years ago. What kind of results will he and his teammates achieve in this year's Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament? I'm looking forward to their performance. Hearing the MC's words, the audience below the stage boiled with excitement. Maybe some people didn't know the name Lu Yuan, but in the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena, Huang Long was definitely very famous. After all, Lu Yuan had a lot of fans in the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena. Although 4 years had passed, those fans still remembered his name. Moreover, there were many new people who knew the name Emperor Dragon. It was not because of anything else, but because the name Huang Long had been engraved on the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena's record tablet. A record of obtaining a purple gold soul emblem from an iron soul emblem in a month. Everyone who came to the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena to watch the tournament had the opportunity to see Huang Long's name and record. As a result, his influence was huge. Because 4 years had passed, Lu Yuan had changed a lot. So many people didn't recognize him. But now that the MC said so, many people instantly reacted. The atmosphere became lively. Huang Long, Emperor Dragon. After hearing that Lu Yuan was the Emperor Dragon, many of the old fans from back then started to shout crazily, because no one knew better than them how dazzling this man's performance back then was. Even now, they still couldn't forget Lu Yuan's wonderful battle back then. This guy is so popular. Below the rostrum, a young man with a mask on his face exclaimed in surprise from a team whose members were all wearing green uniforms. Feng Xiaotian, you can't be jealous, right? As soon as the young man finished speaking, a man in a fiery red uniform not far from him asked with a smile. Looking at his appearance, it was shockingly the Blazing Fire Academy's captain, Wu Shuang, whom Lu Yuan had met not long ago. Who's envious? Isn't it just having more fans? I don't care about these things. I, Feng Xiaotian, am not such a superficial person. Hearing Wu Shuang's words, Feng Xiaotian immediately retorted, Hee, if you're envious, then so be it. You actually don't want to admit it. I'm different. I dare to admit that I'm envious of him. It's just a pity that I'm not as strong as him. Hearing this, Wu Shuang chuckled and said, TSK, it doesn't make sense to a rough man like you. Feng Xiaotian curled his lips and turned his gaze to Wu, who was standing behind Wu Shuang. His eyes suddenly lit up. Sister Wu, long time no see. You become more beautiful. Is that so? Wu glanced at Feng Xiaotian indifferently, without the slightest change in her expression. Of course, when I saw Sister Wu, I thought that a fairy had descended from the heavens. You're so beautiful that it made me a little dazzled. Feng Xiaotian said with a hint of flattery in his tone. Oh, hearing this, Wu faintly replied. Her face didn't reveal any happy expression because of Feng Xiaotian's praise. I heard that Sister Wu and that Lu Yuan have made a battle agreement. Feng Xiaotian didn't care about Wu's indifferent expression at all. Instead, he asked with a chuckle. How did you know? Wu asked indifferently. I I naturally have my own way of doing this. Feng Xiaotian laughed mischievously and said, Then, who do you think will win the battle between me and Lu Yuan? Wu turned her gaze to Feng Xiaotian with a trace of inquiry in her eyes. Of course, Sister Wu will win. With the strength of your Blazing Fire Academy, this Lu Yuan will undoubtedly lose. Seeing Wu's gaze turn towards him, Feng Xiaotian immediately smiled and flattered her. Is that so? But even I don't have as much confidence as you. I think that the possibility of losing is higher. Wu said indifferently after hearing Feng Xiaotian's words. Not long ago, when she was eager to win, she indeed thought that her chances of winning were very high. However, now that she calmed down and thought about it, she wasn't so sure anymore. After all, Lu Yuan's strength back then was obvious to all. Of course, even so, Wu wouldn't be afraid. Hearing this, Feng Xiaotian suddenly became sluggish. He didn't know what to say. Did he flatter the wrong person? Looking at Feng Xiaotian's appearance, Wu Shuang suddenly shook his head. This guy's feelings for his sister aren't shallow. It's a pity that his sister doesn't like this. It's extremely difficult for a bootlicker to fawn on the goddess. In any case, he didn't think highly of Feng Xiaotian. Wu Shuang's gaze turned towards Lu Yuan, who was in the center of the square. He couldn't help but sigh softly in his heart. A real man should be like this. In the square, Lu Yuan and the others were still moving forward, facing the fiery eyes of the spectators from all directions and listening to their crazy shouts. Lu Yuan still had a calm look on his face. There wasn't the slightest change in his expression. It was just like when he was in the Heaven Do Great Soul Arena. Lu Yuan, you're so popular. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was shining like a star, Ning Rongrong's eyes were filled with unconcealable admiration. This man was really too dazzling. Her little heart was beating nonstop. How could he be so outstanding? Hearing the admiration in Ning Rongrong's voice, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He had seen such a scene more than once. He was almost used to it. However, it should be the first time for Ning Rongrong and the others, especially Wang Qiu-er, who had never seen such a scene before. Her little face was flushed, and her face was filled with excitement. She looked at Lu Yuan with deep admiration. Brother is so amazing, Wang Qiu thought to herself. Chapter 523. Under the gazes of the countless spectators, Lu Yuan and the others walked down from the platform. What they needed to do was to line up properly and listen to the old man, the snowy night emperor, say some unimportant nonsense. After that, they would have to go through a series of messy events. Finally, the old man, Sakas, would draw the teams for the competition and decide their opponents for the preliminaries. Only after all these matters were completed could the qualifiers officially begin. Lu Yuan and the others were very fast. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the platform. After experiencing the cheers of the countless spectators, the arrival of Lu Yuan and the others immediately attracted the attention of the numerous teams that had already gathered here. Practically every single one of them had a grave expression on their faces as they looked at them. The Botany Academy, Blazing Academy, Thunder Academy, Divine Wind Academy, Skywater Academy, and the other academies had already entered the arena and were lining up properly. The moment Lu Yuan entered, all of their gazes were focused on Lu Yuan. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's eyes narrowed. Among the numerous gazes, there was a gaze filled with resentment that instantly attracted Lu Yuan's attention. Glancing around, Lu Yuan instantly caught the owner of that resentful gaze. Thunder Academy's Yu Tianxin? No wonder. Seeing that it was Yu Tianxin looking at him with that resentful gaze, Lu Yuan instantly understood. After all, back in the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, not only had he suppressed Yu Tianheng to the ground like a dead dog, he had also humiliated the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. He had even ridiculed Yu Tianxin himself. It was normal for Yu Tianxin to harbor resentment in his heart. However, trash like Yu Tianxin wasn't worthy of his attention. He was nothing more than an ant. Lu Yuan lightly glanced at Yu Tianxin, then retracted his gaze. He decisively ignored Yu Tianxin's resentful gaze. Damn it! Seeing that Lu Yuan had actually ignored him, Yu Tianxin fiercely clenched his fists, the flames of anger rising in his heart. This guy was still as repulsive as before. Lu Yuan, this time, I will definitely defeat you. Yu Tianxin's knuckles cracked as he clenched his fists. Back then, he wasn't a match for Lu Yuan. However, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. Moreover, this qualifier was a team competition. He was confident that he could defeat Lu Yuan. At that time, he would trample him to the ground and ruthlessly humiliate him to avenge the past. Yu Tianxin swore in her heart. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Yu Tianxin was thinking. Even if he knew, he wouldn't take it to heart. Yu Tianxin, a mere level 44, want to challenge him? If he went all out, Lu Yuan could blow him up with a single punch. This kind of trash was not worthy of his attention. If they really met, Wang Qiu and the others could just play around with them. He believed that Wang Qiu's golden dragon would give Yu Tianxin a pleasant surprise. When the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus met the gold dragon, the result would be very touching. Facing the gazes of the many teams, Lu Yuan continued to walk forward. He looked around slightly, looking for a suitable place to set up camp. Prince Charming, look here. Just as Lu Yuan was looking for a place, Shui Yu was waving at them from the direction of the Skywater Academy. There was an empty place next to the Skywater Academy. It was just right for them to set up camp. Nodding at Shui Yu, Lu Yuan led the team in the direction of the Skywater Academy. Soon, Lu Yuan and the others walked into the place and lined up. 9 people lined up in a row. Lu Yuan naturally stood at the front. Zhu Zhuqing was behind him. Behind Zhu Zhuqing was Wang Qiu, followed by Du Yin, Ning Rongrong, and the others. Lu Yuan and the others were positioned between the Skywater Academy and the Godwind Academy. Because Lu Yuan was at the front, his left side was Feng Xiaodian, and his right side was Shui Yu. Shui Yu was behind Shui Yu. At this moment, she was staring at him with her ice blue eyes. Prince Charming, we meet again. Shui Yu giggled. And, hearing this, Lu Yuan gently nodded. A trace of a smile appeared on his face. This girl Shui Yu was very cute. Lu Yuan had a good impression of her. Of course, it was absolutely not because she called Lu Yuan Prince Charming. Absolutely not. Prince Charming, I didn't expect your popularity to be so high. The cheers of the audience outside the arena just now shocked me. Shui Yu blinked her ice blue eyes and said with a charming face, "Oh, it's okay. Your popularity is also very high. You see, the audience outside is staring at you." Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. The number of female students participating in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament was definitely far less than the number of male students. Generally, Soul Master students were basically composed of male students or mixed in with a few female students. Under such circumstances, the Skywater Academy's team, composed entirely of female students, was particularly eye-catching. Furthermore, every student in the Skywater Academy's team was a beauty. Shui Yu and Shui Yu were top-notch beauties. Furthermore, they were all wearing ice blue dresses. When gathered together like this, it was a particularly eye-catching sight. 9 out of 10 male spectators outside were staring at them. It couldn't be helped. Who asked these beauties to be so pleasing to the eye? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Yu giggled. Her smiling face was like a flower. It was really cute to the extreme. Lu Yuan, don't chat anymore. It's starting. Just as Lu Yuan was chatting with Shui Yu, Zhu Zhuqing poked him from behind. Lu Yuan turned around and saw that the old man, Snowy Night Emperor, was on the rostrum. He was about to start his speech. Phew, another bunch of senseless nonsense. Seeing Snowy Night Emperor on the rostrum, Lu Yuan curled his lips and said, I hope he can speak faster and not waste too much time. What he hated the most was speaking senseless nonsense. For example, an opening speech that could last for half an hour. Just listening to it made people irritated. However, this time, it was out of Lu Yuan's expectations. Snowy Night Emperor's speech was very brief. First, he gave a few words of encouragement. Then, he decisively announced the start of the competition. This made Lu Yuan somewhat surprised. Oh, this snowy Night Emperor's personality changed? He actually only said a few words? Lu Yuan said somewhat doubtfully. This was not in line with the style of those so-called leaders. Weren't they supposed to be eloquent, spouting empty and meaningless nonsense? Today, Snowy Night Emperor had somewhat refreshed Lu Yuan's view. Just as Lu Yuan was somewhat surprised, Shui Yu-er's voice entered his ears. Perhaps Snowy Night Emperor's health is not very good. I heard that these days, Snowy Night Emperor handed over a lot of matters to Crown Prince Xue Qinghe. He rarely cares about these matters. This made Lu Yuan's heart tremble. Snowy Night Emperor's health is not good. Chapter 5:24. The Snowy Night Emperor isn't well. Lu Yuan was shocked when he heard this. Could it be? He turned to Shui Bing, with a serious look in his eyes. How did you find out about this? It came from the palace. This is no longer a secret to the various powers in Heaven Do, Imperial City. Anyone with a bit of information would know about this. The Emperor's health isn't very good. He's already invited many imperial physicians, but there's still no sign of improvement. Over the past few days, many matters have been slowly handed over to the Crown Prince to handle. The Emperor doesn't really care about anything other than attending court occasionally. It's only because today is the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, and it's very important. Otherwise, the Emperor wouldn't have appeared. Shui Bing said softly. I see. Lu Yuan said softly when he heard this. Why? You don't know about this? She looked at Lu Yuan strangely when she saw that Lu Yuan seemed to be enlightened. I've been busy over the past few months. I don't have the time to pay attention to these things. That's why I don't know about this. Lu Yuan said. Oh, Shui Bing nodded when she heard this. Smiling at Shui Bing, Lu Yuan turned around, his polychoria eyes flashing with light. The Snowy Night Emperor's health isn't good now. This should be Cher's doing. However, the situation isn't stable yet. Why is Cher so anxious? Or perhaps Xue had some other plans in mind. No wonder Chihiro Snow didn't look for him, even though he'd been back for more than 3 months. It seemed like he had too many things to do and couldn't leave for a while. Furthermore, he had to concoct pills, create soul tools, and occasionally train his team. He was also very busy and didn't have the time to see Chihiro Snow. This meant that the two of them hadn't seen each other, even though he'd been back in Heaven Do, Imperial City, for 3 months. It seems like I have to find time to see Cher. Speaking of which, I'm not a good boyfriend. I haven't contacted my girlfriend for 3 months. I wonder if Cher will resent me when I see her again. And if Xue did something to the Snowy Night Emperor, then I'll have to talk to her about it. She didn't even discuss such an important matter with me. If something happens to the Snowy Night Emperor too early, then I won't be able to take control of the Heaven Do Empire. Moreover, if you take too big a step, it's easy to make mistakes. In the original work, wasn't it because you acted too hastily that you made mistakes? I have to remind Xue of this. But for now, I should finish today's qualifiers first before thinking about other things, Lu Yuan thought to himself. Thank you for your wonderful speech, Your Majesty. Next, let's welcome the sect leader of the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect, Mr. Ning Fengji, to give a speech for this competition. Oh, it's Ning Fengji's turn. Looking at Ning Fengji's impassioned speech on the stage, Lu Yuan let out a soft "oh." Since it was Ning Fengji now, would it be Douluo's turn later? After thinking about it, Lu Yuan felt that it was very possible. After all, the Dragon King Hall's reputation wasn't inferior to the Seven Treasures Glazed sects. If the Seven Treasures Glazed sect was the wealthiest among the 4 upper sects, then the Dragon King Hall was the strongest sect. Even without Ma Xiaodao and Ziji, everyone knew that the Dragon King Hall had Long Xiaoyao, Yin Xiaozhe, Douluo, and the frenzy Rhino Douluo. Among them, Long Xiaoyao was an ultimate soul Douluo. In terms of deterrence, the Dragon King Hall was much stronger than the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Since Ning Fengji had spoken, then Douluo would definitely be able to join in as well. However, with Douluo, What kind of legitimate speech could he make? Lu Yuan was doubtful. Very soon, Ning Fengji's speech ended. It was short, but it was just right. It was in line with Ning Fengji's character. He was decisive, but watertight. Even though he had a soul tool as his trump card, Lu Yuan wasn't sure if he could completely control this old fox. This person wasn't simple at all, if not for Lu Yuan's foresight and intelligence. And if not for the fact that he had grasped Ning Fengji's lifeline, it would have been very difficult to deal with this old fox. After Ning Fengji finished speaking, the MC's voice rang out again. Sect Master Ning, as the strongest auxiliary-type soul master, I would like to ask you on behalf of the audience. Among the 28 teams participating in the Heaven Do City's qualifiers, which team do you think will win? Hearing this, Ning Fengji smiled faintly and said, aside from the Heaven Do first team, which is one of the seeded teams in the finals, I have high hopes for the Heavenly Star Academy. I'm sure everyone has heard of their captain, Huang Long. I believe that not only will they be able to pass the preliminaries, they might even be able to become the champions of the Continental Elite Tournament. Oh, the MC was a little surprised. Sect Master Ning thinks so highly of the Heavenly Star Academy, led by Mr. Huang Long. Of course, after all, their captain, Huang Long, is an inconceivable genius that can't be described with common sense. Ning Fengji praised from the bottom of his heart. As he spoke, Ning Fengji looked in Lu Yuan's direction. On the other side, Lu Yuan also looked up, and the two of them looked straight at each other. Seeing this, the corner of Ning Fengji's mouth curled up into a smile, and he nodded at Lu Yuan kindly. Sly old fox, Lu Yuan muttered in his heart. After Ning Fengji's words, it could be said that the Heavenly Star Academy had been pushed to the heart of the struggle. It could be expected that after this, every battle team would pay 120% attention to them. After all, this was the battle team that the Seven Treasures colored glaze sect Master Ning favored. Who would dare to belittle them? This invisibly increased the Heavenly Star Academy's resistance. As soon as Ning Fengji's voice fell, the audience's gaze changed. Even Shui Bing who was standing beside him, looked at him with a more dignified gaze. It was obvious that Ning Fengji's words had an effect. What is this old fox planning? What is his goal? Or is he just afraid that we will win too easily? So he wants to increase the difficulty for us? After all, this old fox knows the approximate strength of Zhu Qing and I. Given Rong Rong's personality, after knowing my level, she will definitely run to Ning Fengji to show off her treasures, praising me for being a genius and how good her eyesight is. Lightly touching his chin, Lu Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 525. Could it be that this old fox is feeling a little uncomfortable because Rong Rong has praised me so many times in front of him? Does he feel that his cabbage has been taken by a pig? No, a dragon. So he's taking revenge on society? Yes, that's very likely. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense why this old man would find trouble for us. Lu Yuan made malicious guesses in his heart. After Ning Fengji finished speaking, he leisurely returned to his seat. Next, let's welcome the poisoned Douluo from the Dragon King Hall to give a speech. Everyone, please welcome him. After Ning Fengji returned to his seat, the MC's voice sounded again. Immediately, Douluo stood up from the VIP area. He patted his sleeves and tidied up his attire. Then, with his hands behind his back, he slowly walked toward the rostrum with 28 steps. Seeing Douluo like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but twitch his mouth. When did this old man learn to put on airs? Ahem. Douluo patted the microphone and coughed twice. Hello everyone, I'm Douluo. I'm very happy to be able to meet everyone here today. I'm not as eloquent as Sect Master Ning and the others. I can only give everyone encouragement and blessings. I hope that everyone can achieve satisfactory results in this Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. Of course, other than verbal encouragement, there are also practical rewards. The top 5 in the Heaven Do District's qualifiers will each receive a longevity pill and a youth retaining pill from the Dragon King Hall's Medicine Hall. Each longevity pill can increase one's lifespan by 5 years. As the name suggests, the youth-retaining pill can preserve one's youth forever. Even if one is 70 or 80 years old, one will still be as beautiful as a young girl. These longevity pills and youth-retaining pills were personally refined by the Dragon King Hall's Hallmaster. They are extremely rare and precious. I hope that everyone can work harder and achieve better results with these pills as your rewards. All right, that's all I have to say. With that, Douluo clapped his hands and turned slightly. He was about to walk toward the VIP area. Poison Douluo, please don't leave yet. I still have 2 questions for you. Seeing that Douluo was about to leave, the MC hurriedly called out to him. Oh, go ahead and ask. Hearing the MC's voice, Douluo turned around. It's like this. Just now, you said that the longevity pill and ageless pill can really prolong life and preserve eternal youth? The Master of Ceremonies' eyes emitted a trace of strange light, and his tone carried a trace of eagerness. Of course, these longevity elixir and ageless elixir were personally refined by our Palace Master. Their quality is guaranteed. Every longevity elixir and ageless elixir are of high quality. The efficacy will only be stronger than what I said. You should know that our Dragon King Palace has a good reputation in this aspect. We never cheat anyone, Douluo said with a serious face. As soon as he said that, a fervent look appeared in the eyes of the audience. Even Emperor Shui Yi and Ning Fengji had a look of desire in their eyes. Even they wanted such a pill very much. Especially the Snowy Night Emperor. He felt that his body was getting worse and worse. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to live for more than a few years. If he could buy a few longevity pills and eat them, wouldn't he be able to live for a few more years? Thinking about it, he felt a little happy. Looking at Douluo, the Snowy Night Emperor's eyes glowed. Is this your doing? Zhu Zhuqing, who was standing behind Lu Yuan, couldn't help but poke Lu Yuan's body when she saw Douluo advertising during the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament speech. No, this should be Elder Duga's idea. Back then, he told me that he had a way to make the longevity elixir and ageless elixir famous in the shortest time possible. He even took 5 of each type of pill from me. So this was his idea. I have to say that it's a very good idea. In this way, I'm afraid that the entire Heaven-Do City will know about the longevity elixir and ageless elixir in less than a day. Lu Yuan whispered into Zhu Zhuqing's ear. It seems like Elder Douluo is very capable. Zhu Zhuqing was a little surprised. She originally thought that this was Lu Yuan's doing. She didn't expect it to be Douluo's idea. Elder Douluo is indeed very capable. It seems like he's learned a lot in this year of being in charge of the Dragon King Palace. He's fully aroused the enthusiasm and thirst of the audience. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Haha, it seems like after today, the longevity elixir and ageless elixir will sell like crazy. You're going to be rich. Zhu Zhuqing smiled with a rare trace of playfulness on her face. If I'm rich, isn't that the same as you being rich? Lu Yuan smiled. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's face turned slightly red. She looked coquettishly at Lu Yuan, but the smile on her face couldn't be stopped. Ahem, I've asked the first question. Now, I'd like to ask you, who do you think will win the Heaven-Do Competition Zone's 28 teams? After suppressing the shock in his heart, the MC asked Douluo a second question. After all, this was the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament's qualifiers. These matters were important. The longevity elixir and ageless elixir were just side issues. Which team do you think will win the Heaven-Do competition? It has to be the Heavenly Star Academy. Hearing this, Douluo stroked his beard and said decisively, Oh, can you tell me the reason why you think so highly of the Heavenly Star Academy? The MC asked again. Reason? There are many reasons. Mainly, there are 3 reasons. The first reason is naturally that my granddaughter Douluo is in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. I'm quite optimistic about my granddaughter's strength. Douluo said. Oh, so your granddaughter is in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. May I ask the second reason? The second reason is naturally that the daughter of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sex Sect Master Ning is also in the Heavenly Star Academy's team. With the help of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda, I naturally have confidence in the Heavenly Star Academy's team, Douluo said indifferently. Whoosh. Hearing this, everyone's gaze fell on Ning Fengji. Facing everyone's gaze, Ning Fengji smiled and said, "That's right, my daughter is indeed in the Heavenly Star Academy's team." Hearing Ning Fengji's words, the audience and many other teams' gazes immediately fell on Lu Yuan and the others. They didn't think that the Heavenly Star Academy's team would actually hide 2 people with such a background. One was the poisoned Douluo's granddaughter, and the other was the daughter of the 7 treasures glazed sect master. To be able to gather these 2 people in a team, the Heavenly Star Academy's background was probably not simple. Furthermore, the team members' backgrounds were so great. Then the team leader, called Lu Yuan, the former Emperor Dragon, probably had an even greater background. Chapter 5:26. Then what's the third reason? Looking at Douluo, the MC's voice sounded. The third reason is naturally because of the Heavenly Star Academy's captain, Lu Yuan, who is also the former Emperor Dragon. To be honest, in this old man's entire life, I have never seen a genius like him. No matter how dazzling the Heaven's pride is in front of him, they all pale in comparison. This old man dares to say that with him, the champion of this year's Continental Elite Tournament will definitely belong to the Heavenly Star Academy, Douluo said resolutely. Looking at Douluo's face, which was full of confidence that the Heavenly Star Academy would win the championship, many of the spectators couldn't help but click their tongues. Wasn't he too optimistic about the Heavenly Star Academy? In addition, Ning Fengji also said that he was optimistic about the Heavenly Star Academy's team. For a moment, Lu Yuan's team became the strongest enemy in the hearts of all the teams present. A titled Douluo, an elder of the Superpower Dragon King Palace, and the sect master of the 7 treasures glazed sect. Who would dare to look down on a team that these 2 people were optimistic about? One could imagine that in the future, every match of Lu Yuan's team would be watched by many academies, just to probe their strength. After probing their strength, they would definitely come up with many strategies to deal with them. In this way, the difficulty of the tournament would increase by a lot. Although Lu Yuan's heart didn't really care that much. It was just that Douluo praised him like this on the rostrum, which made him feel a little embarrassed, even though Douluo was indeed speaking the truth. Senior Douluo praising you like this. Are you very happy? Behind him, Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded in Lu Yuan's ear. What's there to be happy about? Isn't this the truth? What's there to be happy about? Hearing this, Lu Yuan slightly tilted his head and said indifferently, "Hey, your skin is really thick." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but spit. This man's skin was really thick. Senior Douluo dared to praise him, and he actually dared to accept it. He really wasn't modest at all. "Little kitty, what are you saying?" Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's soft voice, Lu Yuan couldn't help but look at Zhu Zhuqing, sizing up her body, with a trace of a strange smile on the corner of his mouth. "Don't mess around, there's so many people here." Seeing Lu Yuan's unbridled gaze, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly crossed her arms in front of her chest and bit her red lips with her pearly white teeth. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's cautious appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but chuckle. This kitten was really interesting. What could he do in public? She actually took it seriously. Looking at the teasing expression on Lu Yuan's face, Zhu Zhuqing immediately reacted and glared at Lu Yuan. It was all this pervert's fault. He had bullied her so much that it had become a conditioned reflex. Lu Yuan smiled faintly, rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head, and turned back. At this moment, there were many people staring at him. It was all Douluo's fault for not keeping his mouth shut. This time, he had successfully attracted everyone's attention. Originally, there were many academies that didn't recognize him, but with Douluo's words, he had become completely famous, and even the Heavenly Star Academy had become completely famous. This old man really knew how to play. After Douluo finished speaking, he even winked at Lu Yuan. Coupled with that old face, Lu Yuan felt a chill in his heart. If it was a little beauty who winked at him, it would naturally be very charming, but this old man Douluo was still winking at him. Lu Yuan's feelings could only be described with one word. That was ugh. It was really a little disgusting. Fortunately, after Douluo said a few words, he returned to the VIP area. When he returned, the originally restless atmosphere in the square temporarily calmed down. Of course, the words he said were still firmly remembered in everyone's hearts. Cough, cough. Thank you for His Majesty Poison Douluo's wonderful speech, and also thank the Dragon King Palace for providing the prizes for this competition. Next, we will enter the official part of today's qualifiers. Now, we invite the Heaven Do Martial Spirit Temple's Platinum Bishop, Lord Salas, to draw lots for the first round of the qualifiers. After the host's voice sounded, Salas slowly walked to the host's side and began to draw lots. Every time a lot was drawn, the host would announce it. First round of the qualifiers, Oakland Academy versus Purple Star Academy. Second round of the qualifiers, Thunder Academy versus Blazing Radiance Academy. Prince Charming, which academy do you want to be drawn against in the first round of the qualifiers? While the list of the qualifiers was being announced, Shuei looked at Lu Yuan and her clear voice sounded. I don't care about that. Whoever is drawn is fine. Lu Yuan shrugged, looked at Shuei's cute face, and asked, Then what about you? Who do you want to be drawn against? We just hope that we don't meet Prince Charming. Of course, it will be better if we don't meet any of the stronger teams. Shuei giggled. Hearing this, Shuei Bing, who was standing in front of Shuei couldn't help but nod. Of course, they want to have an easy first round. Then I wish you good luck, Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. He turned around and saw that the drawing of lots was still going on. First round of the qualifiers, God Wind Academy versus Botany Academy. First round of the qualifiers, Sky Water Academy versus Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Hey, your opponent is Heaven Do's second team. Your luck is pretty good. Heaven Do's second team is a group of rookies. Looks like you can get off to a good start. After hearing Sky Water Academy's opponent, Lu Yuan couldn't help but look at the sisters and chuckle. Our luck is indeed good, but I believe that Prince Charming's luck will also be very good. Shuei giggled and said softly, Then I'll count on your auspicious words. Lu Yuan smiled and looked in the direction of the rostrum again. At this moment, Saka's happened to draw two more lots. First round of the qualifiers, Sky Star Academy versus Songhui Academy. Taking the lot in Saka's hand, the MC's voice sounded again. Songhui Academy? Hearing the MC's voice, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be startled. Their first opponent was Songhui Academy? This was a bit of a coincidence. However, when Lu Yuan saw Saka's subtly casting a friendly glance at him from the rostrum, Lu Yuan felt much more at ease. Just as he had thought, how could there be such a coincidence? So it was this old man who had deliberately arranged this. However, he didn't dislike this arrangement, because for Songhui Academy, Lu Yuan didn't like it either. It seems that their lead teacher, Serene, has an illusion skull. Should I get it? This skull is quite suitable for Rong, and Serene doesn't seem to be a good person. He has hunted many young geniuses. In the original work, he even wanted to hunt Tang San, but was killed instead. Lu Yuan secretly thought in his heart. Chapter 5:27. So for that illusory realm soul bone, should I kill Shunyan, kill him, or kill him? Lu Yuan rubbed his chin with his right hand as he muttered to himself. Killing an illusory realm soul sage was too easy for him. A few strikes from the golden dragon spear would be enough. As for why it was so easy, it was because his Polychoria, clear aura divine seed, and clear aura scripture all gave him the ability to be immune to illusions. Shunyan would not be able to fight back against him at all. However, after thinking about it carefully, Lu Yuan gave up on this idea. Forget it. No matter what, Shunyan did not provoke me at this time. Killing for a soul bone is not in line with my character. There are many soul bones that are suitable for Rong. I will definitely be able to find them in the future. Furthermore, the Seven Treasures Glaze sect is so rich. They should be able to take out a few soul bones. Lu Yuan tapped his chin lightly as a thought flashed through his mind. However, my murderous aura has really become heavier over the past year. Is it the result of using the god-slaying spear? Is it because after the god-slaying spear's power was fully displayed, the murderous aura from the god-slaying spear was integrated into my body? Fortunately, although this murderous aura is terrifying, I can completely control it. It seems that having high spiritual power does have a lot of benefits. If I can refine this murderous aura into my attacks, I will definitely be more powerful in battle. After all, this murderous aura is not something that ordinary people can withstand. It seems that I can start creating the fourth spear technique. Lu Yuan pondered in his heart. Prince Charming, your luck is not bad. This Sanghui Academy doesn't seem to be very strong. It seems that you will have an easy time in the first round of the qualifiers. Just as Lu Yuan was deep in thought, Shui Yu-er's voice sounded again. As soon as Shui Yu-er's voice sounded, Lu Yuan was immediately awakened from his deep thoughts. Hee, it's all thanks to your auspicious words just now. Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he said. Hee. Hearing this, Shui Yu-er giggled. She smiled until her eyes were squinted like a small crescent moon. She was really cute. Looking at Shui Yu-er's adorable smile, Lu Yuan smiled and shook his head. He turned around slightly and saw that the drawing of lots had already ended. All right. Many thanks to the Platinum Bishop of the Martial Spirit Temple, Lord Salus, for drawing the lots for us. The first match of the qualifiers will be between the Skywater Academy and the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. All other participating academies, please leave the stage. The two academies that will be participating in the next round, please prepare yourselves. The tournament will begin in 15 minutes. I didn't expect it to be you guys in the first round. Good luck. Listening to the Master of Ceremonies, Lu Yuan smiled and said to Shui Yu-er, and Shui Yu-er? Well, thank you. Water Ice's voice sounded. Yes, we will. Prince Charming, remember to watch our wonderful performance later. Shui Yu-er said with a smile. Oh, you will. Then I wish you all the best. We'll be leaving first. Nodding to Shui Yu-er and Shui Yu-er, Lu Yuan said softly as he looked at the teams of the other academies that had already left the stage. Prince Charming, take care. Shui Yu-er's soft voice rang out. Okay. Lu Yuan nodded slightly, then turned around and nodded to everyone behind him. Let's go. Saying so, he walked towards the resting area from before. This was the place where the other academies rested and waited for their turn to fight. The resting area wasn't very far from the central competition area, but it wasn't very convenient to watch the matches. Looking from afar, people with poor eyesight would be able to see very blurry things. Of course, if one wanted to watch the matches, they could also go to the stands to watch. There was a special area here for the participating teams. It could be said that the tournament organizer's design was quite reasonable in this regard. Sitting down in the original resting area, the Skywater Academy's match was in the first round. As for the other academies, they should be in the back. Today was the opening ceremony, so the competition area was only in the central plaza. But starting tomorrow, the tournament would be divided into 4 areas, namely the A, B, C, and C divisions. This way, the tournament would progress much faster. There were a total of 28 teams in the qualifiers. Every team would have to compete. In other words, Lu Yuan's team would have to fight 27 matches in the qualifiers alone. Every team would have to compete once every day. After 27 matches, the rankings would be based on the number of victories. This was the rule of the qualifiers. Based on the rule of 2 days of rest for every 5 days of competition, the qualifiers alone would take over a month. In addition to the advancement matches and the finals, the entire tournament would probably last for at least 3 months. Perhaps it would take even longer. As expected of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament held once every 5 years, the scale was truly grand. Aren't you going to watch their matches? They're letting you see their spectacular performances. Zhu Zhuqing stood in front of Lu Yuan with her arms crossed as she watched Lu Yuan sit down. Her cold face was expressionless. Lu Yuan shook his head. There's no need. Heaven Do Imperial Academy's second team is just a bunch of noobs. They won't be able to force the Skywater Academy to show their strength. There's nothing to see. It's better for us to prepare for our own matches. You're really not going to watch? The Skywater Academy has so many beauties. They're all wearing the same uniform. They're all cute and youthful. Don't you guys like to see these kinds of things? Zhu Zhuqing whispered as she looked at Lu Yuan with a strange expression. Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. Didn't he just say a few words to Shui Yuer? This little kitty is here again. All right, stop messing around. Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a hint of rebuke in his eyes. Oh, Zhu Zhuqing muttered an oh when she saw Lu Yuan's expression. However, she felt relaxed inside. Lu Yuan's reaction meant that he really didn't have such intentions. All right, everyone come over here for a moment. I have something to say, Lu Yuan said softly as he beckoned everyone over. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone gathered around. Wang Xiao ran over to Lu Yuan's side and sat down, hugging Lu Yuan's arm. Lu Yuan smiled and patted Wang Xiao's hand. Then, he turned his gaze to everyone. Our first opponent for the qualifiers is the Tsanghui Academy. This academy isn't very strong. The only thing worth noting is their 7-person fusion technique. Lu Yuan said faintly. 7-soul fusion skill? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone's eyes were filled with astonishment. The Tsanghui Academy still had such a trump card. Yes, a 7-soul fusion skill. It's a 7-soul fusion skill formed by 7 gemstone martial souls. It's an illusion-type soul skill. It's not very destructive, but it's a little strange. People with weak spiritual power will be easily affected. Chapter 528. This time, Zhu Qing and I will not be fighting. Everything depends on you. If Emir Tsanghui Academy wants us to fight, then training you for the past 3 months is meaningless. You can go home, wash up, and sleep. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone nodded with a serious expression. If they couldn't even deal with an unknown academy like Tsanghui Academy, then they would really be letting down Lu Yuan's painstaking training. Since their 7-figure fusion technique is an illusion, then people with strong spiritual power should be able to resist it. Fu Qinsheng said. Lu Yuan looked at him approvingly and said, Qinsheng is right. No matter how powerful the 7-figure fusion technique is only a 7-figure fusion technique. It is not a heaven-defying 7-figure martial soul fusion technique. So even if it is quite strange, as long as there is a certain method, it is not difficult to break it. Moreover, you have already prepared in advance. So, either you defeat the Tsanghui Academy before they have the time to use this 7-person fusion technique, where you counterattack and defeat them after falling into the illusion. This battle mainly depends on Qinsheng and Xiao. Qinsheng, you're a spiritual control type soul master, and you're already at rank 45. Your spiritual power is comparable to a soul king's, and Xiao has the Golden Dragon martial soul. The Golden Dragon is an extremely powerful martial soul, and it has its own unique senses. Illusions shouldn't have much effect on you. That's why I'm not worried about you losing this battle. What I want is a clean victory. Sect Master Ning and Senior Dugu were very optimistic about us, so we can't afford to lose face here. In this battle, we have to show our elegance. It is best to end the battle within a minute. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Within a minute? Hearing this, Fu Qinsheng and the others looked at each other. It was not difficult for them to win, but to end the battle within a minute was not a simple matter. You guys should discuss this among yourselves. The 7-person fusion technique that I mentioned just now is Tsanghui Academy's deepest trump card, and today is only the first match. They may not use it, but regardless of whether they use it or not, I'm more inclined towards the first combat method I mentioned earlier. Crush them with a thunderous momentum and directly flatten them. Only in this way can we better display our momentum. Qiao Lingwei, one of you has a Golden Dragon martial soul, while the other has a Terrorclaw Bear martial soul. You must display the strength of your martial souls. If I'm not satisfied with this fight, haha, Everyone will be punished when we return. None of you will be able to escape. Lu Yuan's somewhat serious voice sounded. Yes, Captain. As soon as Lu Yuan's voice fell, everyone immediately responded in unison, their voices loud and clear. All right, I'll leave the rest to Qin Sheng. Everything is up to you. I won't interfere anymore, Lu Yuan said faintly. Yes, Captain. Everyone replied in unison. Come, Zhu Qing, sit. On this side, Fu Qin Sheng and the rest gathered together to discuss, while Lu Yuan pulled Zhu Zhuqing to sit at one side, flirting leisurely. Lu Yuan, isn't 1 minute too short? Zhu Zhuqing asked softly as she sat beside Lu Yuan. It's not short. With their abilities, it's enough. Lu Yuan smiled slightly and said, Just now, I purposely mentioned Songhui Academy's 7-person fusion technique just to provoke them. This is only the first round of the qualifiers, and we're a strong team that the two big bosses think highly of. Songhui Academy won't use such an important 7-person fusion technique in the first round. Xinian isn't a fool. If they use it now, won't all the other teams know? The 7-person fusion technique is indeed powerful, but as I said, there are always flaws to be exploited, and once this trump card is gone, how far can the Songhui Academy go with their 3-legged cat skills? They're not like us. Even if Chiu and the rest abilities are all exposed, it doesn't matter. As long as the two of us are here, it's enough to beat everything. Why do you think Senior Douluo and the rest are so unscrupulous, and they think highly of us in public? That's because they know our abilities. It's impossible for us to lose. That's why they said that. Otherwise, if they make a mistake, they'll be the ones losing face. Lu Yuan said softly. Oh, so you're saying that just to provoke their fighting spirit? Zhu Zhuqing asked. Yes. Lu Yuan glanced at the people who were discussing and smiled. Don't look at how obedient these guys are in front of me. In fact, they're all arrogant. If I don't provoke them, they'll hide it. I've said before, I want to win the first round cleanly. This is Tianxing Academy's first battle. It's very important, and we can't afford to lose. You're so scheming. Even your own people are scheming. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but roll her eyes at Lu Yuan. How can this be called scheming? This is called reasonable motivation. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Stroking Zhu Zhuqing's long hair, Lu Yuan's gaze turned towards the entrance of the resting area. Separated by nearly 300 meters, Lu Yuan could clearly see the battle taking place in the center area. TSK, Tiando Imperial Academy, is really weak. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smack his lips as he watched Tiando Imperial Academy's second team being beaten up by Shui Bing's Ice Phoenix. What's going on? How's the match going? Zhu Zhuqing looked into the distance, but 300 meters away, she could only see a small black dot. The silhouette was very blurry, and she couldn't see it clearly. What else can they do? Tiando Imperial Academy's second team is being beaten up. I didn't expect this Shui Bing to be so strong. Her Ice Phoenix martial soul is already a top-tier martial soul, and it's only a step away from Ultimate Ice. If they really fight, if we don't go up, only Chiu can win. Lu Yuan said softly. She's that strong? I think she's only at rank 44. Zhu Zhuqing said. Yes, she's only at rank 44, but her Ice Phoenix martial soul is very strong. Furthermore, phoenixes are the kings of birds, and naturally suppress martial souls like serpents and flood dragons. Furthermore, the ice element has a certain resistance to poison. It's because of this that Douluo might not be able to defeat her, even though her soul power is several ranks higher. This Shui Bing is indeed a genius. I heard that she's only 18 this year. That's really rare. If you didn't have so many fortuitous encounters, you wouldn't even be able to compare to her at her age. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Chapter 529. Hearing Lu Yuan's praise, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but nod. What Lu Yuan said was actually the truth. Her innate soul power wasn't high, only at rank 8. After all, a martial soul like the Netherworld Civet could only barely squeeze into the ranks of top-notch martial souls. In terms of strength, the Martial Soul Palace wasn't even comparable to the Star Luo imperial family's White Tiger martial soul. Compared to powerful top-notch martial souls like the Ice Phoenix, there was actually a big gap. When she met Lu Yuan at the age of 9, her soul power was only at rank 19. When she was 12 in the original book, her soul power was at rank 27. She was able to reach this point with her innate rank 8 soul power because of her unremitting efforts. Her aptitude was actually the worst among the original Shrek's 7 monsters. If she didn't have the immortal herb, no matter how hard she worked, her soul power would at most be at the same level as Shui Bing when she was 18 years old. The reason why she was able to improve so quickly in this life and reach rank 52 at the age of 14 was mostly due to her meeting Lu Yuan. The Life Spirit Crystal evolved her martial soul and increased her aptitude, from the Netherworld Civet to the superb Martial Soul 9 Lives Links. The Narcissus Jade muscles increased her soul power and increased her aptitude again, reaching the soul ancestor level. The 100,000-year Blue-Silver Emperor's right leg bone greatly increased her physical strength. Her Polychoria dispersed the 10,000-year Dark Knight Demon Tiger's soul shock, allowing Zhu Zhuqing to reach the 4th ring of the 10,000-year soul ancestor level. The Spirit Ascension Pill allowed Zhu Zhuqing to enter the Soul King realm at the age of 14 and become one of the top geniuses in the entire continent. Zhu Zhuqing had many fortuitous encounters along the way, and every one of her adventures had something to do with Lu Yuan. Among Lu Yuan's 4 women, he gave Zhu Zhuqing the most things because she was the weakest. Sometimes, Lu Yuan would consider her first. She was also the one who accompanied Lu Yuan the longest. Except for special circumstances, Lu Yuan would bring her along wherever he went. During her growth, Lu Yuan played a huge role in helping her. Lu Yuan, it's my greatest fortune to have met you in this life. Zhu Zhuqing leaned on Lu Yuan's shoulder and wrapped her arms around his waist. Her red lips parted slightly as she looked at Lu Yuan with deep affection in her eyes. Although this man was a bit of a playboy, he was extremely responsible and treated her very well. He almost spoiled her in the palm of his hand. Basically, he would grant her every request. Zhu Zhuqing was very satisfied to be able to meet him. Lu Yuan pinched Zhu Zhuqing's nose and said with a chuckle, "Since you know that I'm good, then you should be obedient in the future. Don't be so jealous, you little vinegar jar. Right now, you're even more jealous than Cher." "Okay, I know," Zhu Zhuqing said softly, and her arms around Lu Yuan tightened. Lu Yuan smiled and rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head. His eyes once again looked at the competition in the central region. "Tisk, it's over. Skywater Academy is still very powerful. They really won without breaking a sweat. And from the looks of it, they're hiding a lot of things." Lu Yuan clicked his tongue and sighed as he watched Skywater Academy's team leave the stage. "It's over so quickly?" Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing's face was filled with surprise. From the start of the battle until now, only a few minutes had passed. Yes, it's over. If they didn't give face to the Heaven Do Imperial family, it might have ended even faster. If Skywater Academy is so strong, then the other elemental academies shouldn't be too weak. After the Continental Soul Master Tournament ends, maybe we can buy them all. If we buy them, our Skystar Academy will grow a lot. I want to build the strongest Soul Master Academy on the continent. Lu Yuan gently stroked his chin and said, "But will they be willing? They're doing well. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to buy them." Zhu Zhuqing said, "Hee, this requires a certain degree of maneuverability. I already have an idea. You'll know when the time comes." Lu Yuan laughed mischievously. "So secretive. You must be up to no good." Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing curled her lips and said, "Hee." Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, Lu Yuan wasn't angry. He gently pinched the little kitten's cheeks with a smile on his face. "Oh, they're back." Looking at the entrance, Skywater Academy's team was walking towards the resting area. "They're back?" When Lu Yuan said this, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly let go of Lu Yuan's arms and sat up straight. Just now, because there was no one around and the other teams were sitting far away from them, she dared to hug Lu Yuan. But now, Skyward Academy's team was obviously coming in their direction. In public, her face was thin and she didn't dare to be too close to Lu Yuan, especially in front of some outsiders. Holding hands was the limit. Everyone from Skywater Academy rested in the area next to Lu Yuan and the others. They all had smiles on their faces. It was obvious that they were very happy with their victory. Prince Charming, we won. Shui Yu skipped and came in front of Lu Yuan and the others and said charmingly, "And I saw it. You're all very strong." Lu Yuan said with a smile, "Wow, Prince Charming, you can see the situation of the Central Division from here?" Hearing that Lu Yuan could see the Central Division from here, Shui Yu couldn't help but be surprised. This place was at least 300 meters away. "I can see it. My eyesight is better than the average person. I saw your performance just now. You're very strong," Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. "Really?" Hearing Lu Yuan's words of praise, Shui Yu's eyes suddenly narrowed and a pleasantly surprised smile appeared on her face. "Really?" Lu Yuan said softly. Hee hee. Hearing this, Shui Yu giggled, showing her youthful playfulness. Her eyes turned slightly and looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who was sitting with Lu Yuan, and then at the other 7 people sitting together. A strange light flashed in her eyes. She seemed to have discovered something strange. "Prince Charming, what's the relationship between you and the girl next to you? I feel that you two are very close." Shui Yu asked. "This is my girlfriend, Zhu Zhuqing." Lu Yuan took Zhu Zhuqing's hand and said with a chuckle, "Wow, Prince Charming, you already have a girlfriend. Sad. I originally wanted to pursue Prince Charming, but now there's no hope." Shui Yu's face showed a lost expression. Her small hand stroked her chest, as if she had been hit by a blow. Seeing Shui Yu like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. This girl was really interesting. Just as he opened his mouth and was about to speak, the voice of the Master of Ceremonies sounded from outside and directly passed into the rest area. The next match is between Heavenly Star Academy and Songhui Academy. The match will begin in a quarter of an hour. Both academies, please get ready. Chapter 530. Oh, is it finally our turn? Hearing the MC's voice, the corners of Lu Yuan's lips curled up slightly as he smiled. "Line up." Lu Yuan's indifferent voice rang out. In less than 5 seconds, the 7 people who were originally gathered together quickly formed a neat line. Fu Qinsheng was in first place because he was a spiritual-type soul master and controlled the entire match, so he was in first place. Next was Wang Qiu. Wang Qiu was the strongest among them. Her golden dragon martial soul was extremely powerful and invincible, so she was in second place. Next was Duge Yin, Ning Rongrong, Ling Wei, Jing Ling, and Jiang Zhu. They lined up in an orderly manner. Wow, their movements are so fast. Shui Yu's icy blue eyes carried a trace of astonishment when she saw the 7 people quickly and neatly forming a long line. Fu Qinsheng's team's discipline was much better than her Skywater Academy's. "It's all right. I've been training them for a few months. If they can't even do this, then wouldn't the training be in vain?" Lu Yuan smiled faintly. "Prince Charming, you must be very strict with your team members." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Shui Yu asked softly. "No, I'm very gentle with them." Lu Yuan smiled faintly. When he said this, Fu Qinsheng and the others rolled their eyes at the same time. "Like hell I'll believe you. You're such a bad old man. When we were breaking in our tacit understanding, you really criticized us until we were black and blue. Now that I think about it, I'm a little scared. You actually say that you're gentle with us? You're really shameless." Zhu Zhuqing, who was standing at the side, could not help but rub her face. She was impressed by Lu Yuan's ability to lie without batting an eyelid. He was really awesome and did not know what it meant to be embarrassed. "What? Am I not gentle with you guys?" Seeing them roll their eyes, Lu Yuan couldn't help but give them a look. "Gentle," everyone shouted in unison. Seeing this scene, Shui Yu couldn't help but laugh. "Prince Charming, you and your team members are so interesting." She scanned the crowd with her ice blue eyes, and there was an unconcealable smile in her eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile and said, "Miss Yu, we're about to enter the arena. If you're interested, you can come and watch our competition. And I will go. Prince Charming, do your best." Shui Yu clenched her small fist and said, "I will." Lu Yuan smiled and nodded. Then, he turned around slightly, and his expression became calm again. His indifferent voice sounded, "Let's go." As he spoke, he took the lead and walked in front. Zhu Zhuqing followed behind him. Fu Qinsheng and the rest also hurriedly followed. "Sister, let's go watch our idols competition." Seeing the figures of Lu Yuan and others walking away, Shui Yu bounced to Shui Bing's side and said with a chuckle, "You he already has a girlfriend. You heard it just now. No matter how much you like him, there's no result." Looking at her younger sister, Shui Bing somewhat helplessly said, Sister, I know. I've already given up on that aspect. Alas, who let our Prince Charming be so outstanding? He actually already has a girlfriend. I'm still a step late. Now, I just want to see the strength of our Prince Charming's team. After all, their team is favored by the elders of Dragon King Palace and Seven Treasures Colored Glaze Sect. Alas, sister, aren't you interested in their strength? You see, Huo Wushuang and his sister from Blazing Fire Academy, Feng Xiaodian from Godwind Academy, Yu Qianxin from Thunder Academy have all gone. Also, other academies have also sent representatives to watch. Sister, let's also go, okay? Shui Yu pulled Shui Bing's hand and slightly shook it. Okay then. Shui Bing gently sighed. Her ice blue eyes flashed with a strange light. To be honest, she was also very curious about the strength of Lu Yuan and Heavenly Star Battle Team. In that case, let's go. Hearing this, Shui Yu suddenly smiled. She pulled Shui Bing's hand and walked towards the central area. Looking at Shui Yu's happy appearance, Shui Bing couldn't help but sigh slightly. This girl, has she really completely given up that kind of idea in her heart? Gently shaking her head, Shui Bing walked towards the direction of the entrance under the pull of Shui Yu. Under the lead of Lu Yuan, Heavenly Star Battle Team came to the waiting area below the central area. Opposite them was Tsanghui Academy. It was a coincidence that the colors of the two teams were somewhat similar, but the style was different. Tsanghui Academy's uniform was completely silver, and the design was extremely luxurious, while Heavenly Star Academy's white robes were embroidered with silver threads. It was low-key but did not lose its taste. Next, Heavenly Star Academy and Tsanghui Academy, please come on stage and prepare to start the competition. The voice of the MC sounded. Go up when beautifully. Nodding to Fu Qinsheng, Wang Qiu and the others, Lu Yuan said softly, Don't worry, Captain, we will. Fu Qinsheng nodded and said, Big brother, look at Qiu's performance. Wang Qiu revealed a playful smile. Then I'll wait to see our little Qiu's wonderful performance. Looking at Wang Qiu's playful smile, Lu Yuan said with a smile, Then if we win beautifully, will Big Brother give us any rewards? Wang Qiu asked, What reward does Qiu want? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Qiu wants Big Brother to accompany Qiu for a day. As for the others, it's up to Big Brother to decide. Wang Qiu tapped her chin lightly with her slender fingers and said in a delicate voice, All right, if you can really finish the competition in a minute, I'll accompany little Qiu to play for a day. As for the others, the women will each get a face-preserving pill, and the men will each get a longevity pill. How about it? Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hearing this, Fu Qinsheng and the others' eyes lit up. The face-preserving pill and the longevity pill were precious pills. Even if they were from the Dragon King Hall, it was very difficult to get them. If they could get one, it would be a huge profit, especially Du Yin and Jiang Zhu, the two girls who were already 19 years old. They were now in the prime of their lives. If they could take a face-preserving pill at this time and retain their youth forever, it would be an irresistible temptation. It could be said that when Lu Yuan said this, the seven people's eyes lit up with a raging fire. This competition had to be won beautifully. They had to finish them in a minute. Xiao knows that Big Brother is the best. Wang Xiao nodded and smiled like a flower. It's time to go up. Fu Qingxing shouted and led the 7 people from the Heavenly Star Academy to the competition stage. Opposite them, the people from the Tsunghua Academy also went up. The two sides looked at each other, and the atmosphere became heavy. Chapter 531. On the Heavenly Star Academy's side, Wang Xiao, and Ling Wei stood at the front. One of them had a superb martial soul, the Golden Dragon, while the other had a top-grade martial soul, the Terraclaw Bear. Their attacks were terrifying. This was especially so for Wang Xiao. While she looked like a young lady, she was ferocious when she fought. As for how ferocious she was, one could refer to Lu Yuan's battle. Wang Xiao was a few times weaker. While Wang Xiao was only rank 47, her ultimate power meant that her strength was not inferior to a Soul Emperor's. Her punch was extraordinarily powerful. If she could hit the Tsunghua Academy, she would be able to kill them with one punch. This was not a lie. There were not many Soul Masters of the same rank who could take a punch from a Golden Dragon and not be severely injured. Furthermore, Wang Xiao's soul power was far above theirs. After Wang Xiao and Ling Wei was Qin Sheng, the spiritual-type Soul Master who controlled the entire field. Then it was Ning Rongrong and Jiang Zhu. These two auxiliary-type Soul Masters were behind Qin Sheng. Du Guyan and Jing Ling were at the back, in charge of protecting Ning Rongrong and Jiang Zhu. The Heavenly Star Academy did not have any defense-type Soul Masters. They were a combination of 2 offensive Soul Masters, 2 control-type Soul Masters, and 1 agility-type Soul Master. This combination was not perfect, but in front of absolute strength, this flaw could be ignored. The Tsunghua Academy's team was also in a formation. Their formation was 1, 2, 1, and 3. Their captain was at the front, and he was also the strongest Soul Master on their team. Wang Xiao looked at the Tsunghua Academy's Soul Masters and felt their auras. A look of disdain appeared on her jade-like face. She had the Golden Dragon's perception ability. Even if the other party did not use their martial souls, she could clearly sense the specific strength of those who were below her. Just now, she had sensed the strength of the people on the other side. It turned out that everyone on the other side was weaker than her, and by more than a little. This made her instantly lose any interest in fighting. She only wanted to start immediately and defeat them quickly. This way, she could let her brother play with her for a day. As she thought until here, Wang Xiao's lips curled into a smile. She loved being with her brother the most. His gaze shifted to the audience. Lu Yuan found a seat in the waiting area and sat down. He crossed his legs and looked extremely relaxed. Don't you feel heartache for giving away so many medicinal pills all at once? This longevity pill and ageless pill are much more precious than the rising spirit pill. Zhu Zhuqing sat down beside Lu Yuan, her large eyes gently turning as she softly asked, "What's there to feel bad about? It's just a few pills. It's nothing. Moreover, it's given to one of our own." Did my heart ache when I gave you the 100,000-year soul bone? Looking at Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan sighed softly and said, "Zhuqing, you're still not broad-minded enough. If it were Cher, she wouldn't have asked me such a question. Rewards are one thing, but another is to further by people's hearts. Rewards and punishments can make them more loyal. Compared to that, a few pills are just a small matter. As long as I have medicinal herbs, I can refine them at any time. The most important thing is people. Kitty, you're not stupid, and you're quite good at scheming. However, when it comes to managing people, you're still lacking. You still have a lot to learn." Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing wrinkled her nose slightly and muttered, "I'm naturally not as good as Chihiro's snow. My heart isn't as big as his, and can't contain so many things. I only have you in my heart, and I don't care about anything else. I don't want to learn anything in this area." "You really don't want to learn?" "I originally wanted you to go to the Soul Tool Hall to train and help manage some things. When you've grown up, I'll hand the Soul Tool Hall over to you. Since you don't mind, then forget it. I'll hand it over to someone else. If it's not she's not bad. Lu Yuan's eyes turned as he spoke softly. No, I'll learn. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly spoke. She didn't expect Lu Yuan to have such high hopes for her. She had always wanted to help Lu Yuan, and this was a very good opportunity. Furthermore, she wanted Lu Yuan to know that she wasn't just a pretty face. She was also very capable. Why do you want to learn again? Didn't you say that you don't want to learn just now? Lu Yuan spoke softly. He looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a smile in his eyes. I want to learn again. Can I? When she saw the smile in Lu Yuan's eyes, she knew that this fellow was deliberately teasing her. She immediately snorted and spoke. All right, you'll follow me more in the future. Watch how I do things. You're my woman and the wife of the Dragon King Palace's home master. The Soul Tool Hall will be handed over to you in the future. You'll have to understand a little in this area. Lu Yuan looked into Zhu Zhuqing's eyes and spoke with a serious tone. All right, I understand. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded lightly. That's good. Let's watch the competition. It's about to start, Lu Yuan said softly. All right. Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly. Her gaze turned slightly, and suddenly her eyes focused. Lu Yuan, look at the Skywater Academy, God Wind Academy, and Thunder Academy. They're all in the spectator area over there. It seems like they're all here to watch our competition. They want to obtain information. Zhu Zhuqing pointed to the spectator area not far away. Lu Yuan glanced indifferently. Indeed, Shui Bing, Shui Yu, Huowu, and the others are all there. Shui Yu even smiled and waved at him. Lu Yuan smiled and nodded at her. Then, he turned around and said indifferently, It doesn't matter. There's no harm in letting them obtain information. In the face of absolute strength, all schemes and tricks are useless. As long as we're here, we can sweep through everything. And you're right. Zhu Zhuqing deeply agreed with Lu Yuan's words. As long as she and Lu Yuan were here, Heavenly Star Academy couldn't possibly lose. Did the other teams in the Heaven Do Division have Soul Kings? None, so they didn't have to worry. Even if Lu Yuan didn't appear, as long as she made a move, she could still hang up the entire Heaven Do Division. Strength was the only thing that could support everything. It's starting, Lu Yuan muttered to himself as he looked at the two teams that were already facing each other on the stage. The competition begins. Just as Lu Yuan finished speaking, the voice of the MC in charge of the competition rang out from the stage. As soon as the MC's voice rang out, both teams erupted with a powerful aura. One by one, they possessed their martial souls, and soul rings began to appear one after another. When the Heavenly Star Battle Team finished releasing their soul rings, everyone's eyes widened. They were all astonished. Chapter 532. In the arena, Wang Qiu's body shone with golden light. Golden scales started to crawl up her cheeks. There was also a dazzling golden scale in the middle of her forehead that flickered with bright light. Her white and tender hands were also covered in scales, and they turned into extremely sharp golden dragon claws. This was the dragon form skill that all high-ranked dragons possessed. A dragon's roar rang out, and a huge golden dragon projection stood silently behind Wang Qiu. Its huge dragon wings flapped slightly, and a strong dragon's aura filled the arena. Yellow, and purple soul rings rose from her feet. For beautiful soul rings rippled and shone brightly. Wang Qiu possessed a superb martial soul, the Golden Dragon. She was a rank 47 assault-type soul ancestor. Beside Wang Qiu, Ling Wei's body shone with a brownish-yellow light. This light slowly condensed into a huge brown bear behind Ling Wei. This bear was different from ordinary bear-type martial souls. It had a pair of long and sharp dark golden claws. It was the Terror Claw Bear, a top-ranked beast soul whose offensive strength surpassed that of the blue lightning tyrant dragon. When the Terror Claw Bear appeared, Ling Wei's body grew by more than a foot. His arms and body became much thicker, and his skin became brownish-yellow in color. Ling Wei's hands turned into bare paws, and a pair of long and sharp claws grew out of them. They flickered with a dazzling cold light, and it wasn't hard to imagine how terrifying their offensive strength was. 4 yellow, and purple soul rings rose from Ling Wei's body, and a strong aura was released. Ling Wei's martial soul was the Terraclaw Bear. He was a rank 44 assault-type soul ancestor. Behind Wang Qiu, and Ling Wei, a guqin suddenly appeared in Zithershung's hands. This guqin was about 2 meters long and 30 centimeters wide. It shone brightly, and there were even phoenix carvings on it. It was exceptionally beautiful. It was different from an ordinary 7-string guqin. This guqin only had 6 strings. It was a variant of the Alcade guqin, the 6-string demonic guqin. The 6-string demonic guqin was a top-ranked tool soul that possessed both spiritual control and offensive strength. Zithershung sat down and caressed the 6-string demonic guqin. For yellow, and purple soul rings rose from his body. As the guqin sounded, an indescribable spiritual undulation spread. Qin Sheng's martial soul was the 6-string demonic zither, and he was a rank 45 mind-type soul ancestor. After Fu Qin Sheng released his martial spirit, Ning Rongrong and Dugu Yin also released their martial spirits. In Ning Rongrong's right hand, there was an elegant and gorgeous 9-story pagoda. It was the strongest support-type martial soul after its evolution, the 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda. If the 7 Treasures Glazed Pagoda was slightly inferior to the 9-Hearted Begonia, then the 9 Treasures Glazed Pagoda was definitely not inferior to the 9-Hearted Begonia. It could be considered the strongest auxiliary-type martial soul. At the same time, yellow, purple, and purple soul rings rose from her body. Dugian's body emitted an emerald green light. After being possessed by her martial soul, her snake tail turned into a flood dragon's tail. 2 emerald green horns appeared on her head, and her body emitted a faint dragon's aura. Layers of green mist diffused from her body, and 4 yellow, and purple soul rings appeared below her. Ning Rongrong, a rank 45 support-type soul ancestor. Dugian, a rank 47 control-type soul ancestor. At the same time, Jingling and Jiang Zhu also released their martial souls, the skeleton and the healing staff respectively. Yellow, and purple soul rings rose from their bodies. They were respectively rank 38 and rank 36. After the martial spirit possession was completed, the Heavenly Star team's astonishing strength was completely displayed. 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders, all of them had the best combination of soul rings. This immediately shocked the audience and many of the contestants. On the other hand, the Zhanghui Academy team was opposite the Heavenly Star Academy team. Except for the captain who was a soul ancestor, the rest were all soul elders, and one of them didn't even have the best combination of soul rings. When the 2 sides were compared, the huge disparity in strength was immediately highlighted. What's the point of fighting? Looking at the strength displayed by the Heavenly Star Academy team, Feng Xiaotian couldn't help but exclaim. With such a disparity in strength, the Zhanghui Academy would definitely lose. Just the competition and momentum was already one-sided. It was hard to say if the Zhanghui Academy could even withstand a wave of attacks from the Heavenly Star Academy team. The Heavenly Star Battle team is so strong. 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders. I'm afraid that this combination has surpassed all of the other battle teams here. Huo Wushuang couldn't help but say as she watched the scene on the stage. His expression was dignified. Originally, the Heavenly Star Academy already had the unbelievably strong Lu Yuan. In the end, their team members were also so strong. It was really despairing. His sister's arranged battle was probably going to be lost without a doubt. She didn't even have the slightest chance of winning. Huo Wushuang thought to himself. He looked at Huo Wu. Sure enough, Huo Wu's expression was so dignified that it was about to drip water. Her fists were clenched tightly, and her eyes were filled with unwillingness. Looking at the strength of the Heavenly Star Academy team, she knew that she was going to lose without a doubt. However, her competitive spirit made her heart filled with unwillingness. Ever since she saw Lu Yuan's strength, her heart was filled with admiration. At the same time, she also wanted to fight with Lu Yuan and defeat him. But now, it was very unlikely that she would be able to achieve this goal. How could she be willing in her heart? Yu Tianxin had an even bigger reaction than Hou Wu. He clenched his fists tightly, and his nails pierced his palms. Blood dripped from his hands. His face was filled with madness and malevolence. Lu Yuan, I will definitely defeat you. I definitely will. His eyes were bloodshot. He stared at the stage with resentment, as if he wanted to find a flaw in the Heavenly Star Academy team. Not far away, Shui Bing sighed softly. Her expression was dignified. In a situation where Lu Yuan and his girlfriend didn't go on stage, the Heavenly Star Academy actually had 5 soul ancestors and 2 soul elders. If Lu Yuan and his girlfriend also went on stage, then wouldn't they have at least a full soul ancestor lineup? After all, if they didn't go on stage, their strength would definitely be more powerful. This thought made Shui Bing's heart beat faster. This kind of strength was a bit too strong. No wonder the 7 treasures Glaze Sect Master Ning and the Dragon King Palace's Elder Poisoned Awe were so optimistic about the Heavenly Star Academy. It turned out that their strength had reached such a level. It was really a bit frightening. No wonder Lu Yuan looked so relaxed and didn't care who his opponent was. If their Heavenly Water Academy had a full soul ancestor lineup, they would also be like Lu Yuan. No matter who the opponent was, they wouldn't care at all. Sister, Prince Charming's team is so strong. Just as Shui Bing was sighing, Shui Yu pulled Shui Bing's hand. Her small mouth was slightly open, and there was a trace of unconcealable shock on her pretty face. Chapter 533. They are indeed very strong. So strong that it's a little shocking. Shui Bing muttered to herself with a tinge of fear in her voice. I didn't expect Prince Charming's team to have so many soul ancestors. There are already 5 of them. If Prince Charming and his girlfriend are included, wouldn't that be a full lineup of soul ancestors? Shui Yu said with some surprise. Yes, this is the team that the 2 elders thought highly of. They are indeed very strong. Shui Bing sighed softly. Elder sister, if we meet Prince Charming's team, wouldn't they be very likely to lose? Shui Yu said. Yes, that's why we need to observe and understand the situation. We need to come up with some countermeasures. I think the other academies have the same idea as us. Shui Bing said. Yes. Elder sister, you're right. Shui Yu lightly nodded her head. In the VIP area, the various leaders were also watching the competition below. When they saw the arrangement of soul rings on the Heavenly Star Academy's team, they were all astonished. Sitting in the VIP area, the sallow-faced snowy Night Emperor squeezed out a smile and said to Ning Fengji and Douluo beside him, Is this the team that the 2 elders thought highly of? Their strength is indeed extraordinary. That's natural. The truly powerful people haven't even gone up yet. Hearing the Snowy Night Emperor's words, Douluo smiled faintly with a trace of pride. This was their Dragon King Hall's team. Ning Fengji also smiled faintly, but didn't reply. Mr. Douluo, if the information I received is correct, the Emperor Dragon who hasn't gone up should be the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall, right? As he said that, the Snowy Night Emperor's gaze was fixed on Douluo. To ordinary people, Lu Yuan's identity as the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall was a top secret. Even the leaders of many powers didn't know that Lu Yuan was the Hall Master of the Dragon King Hall. But this definitely didn't include the Heaven Do Imperial family. The Snowy Night Emperor had a better understanding of the Dragon King Hall situation. He also knew that Long Xiaoyao was in the Dragon King Hall. But don't forget who Long Xiaoyao's subordinate was. Yes, Your Majesty. The Emperor Dragon who didn't go on stage is Hall Master Lu Yuan of the Dragon King Palace. Douluo didn't answer. Instead, it was Ning Fengji who revealed the matter with a faint smile. Hearing Ning Fengji's words, the Snow Knight Emperor nodded and asked, Mr. Douluo, is it true that one pill can increase one's lifespan by 5 years? As soon as he said that, even Ning Fengji and Sakas, who had been quietly waiting at the side, couldn't help but look over. This is naturally true. This seed has already said that this pill was personally refined by my Hall Master. My Hall Master is an alchemy master and can refine a lot of medicinal pills. Sect Master Ning should be the most clear about this point. Even Sect Master Ning's beloved daughter has enjoyed this spirit ascension pill. Douluo spoke with a light tone. Is that true, Sect Master Ning? Snowy Knight, Heavenly Emperor looked at Ning Fengji. Replying to Your Majesty, it is indeed true. The spirit ascension pill refined by Hall Master Lu is extremely effective. It can increase one's soul power rank. After my daughter took 5 pills, she continuously increased 3 ranks in the Soul Ancestor realm. Ning Fengji said, Then, does that mean that each spirit ascension pill can really increase one's lifespan by 5 years? Hearing Ning Fengji's words, the Snowy Knight Emperor's voice was filled with excitement. His body wasn't good to begin with, and he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold on for more than a few years. This spirit ascension pill was really a life-saving medicine for him. Mr. Douluo, when will the spirit ascension pill be sold? This emperor would also like to buy some. Just as the Snowy Knight Emperor finished speaking, Ning Fengji's voice rang out. If the spirit ascension pill is to be sold, please be sure to reserve a few for my 7 treasures glazed sect. Ning Fengji also needed the spirit ascension pill because the bone Douluo and sword Douluo were already very old. At most, they could only live for another 20 to 30 years. If the 7 treasures glazed sect didn't have a new title Douluo to replace them after 20 to 30 years, then they would be going downhill. But if they could obtain the spirit ascension pill, then it would be different. At the very least, it would allow Uncle Jian and Uncle Gu to live for another 10 to 20 years. This could be said to be of great significance to the 7 treasures glazed sect. Haha, Your Majesty and Sect Master Ning, don't worry. This seat will naturally convey your requests to the Hall Master. It's just that the ingredients used for the Spirit Ascension Pill are very particular, and it is also very difficult to refine. So, this seat can't guarantee how much can be given to the 2 of you. Douluo said, Of course. Everything will of course depend on Hall Master Lu's wishes. I wonder if Hall Master Lu has the time recently? This emperor would also like to meet such a young elite. The Snowy Knight Emperor chuckled. Hearing this, Douluo, Ning Fengji, and Sakas raised their eyebrows at the same time. The 3 of them were all old and experienced people. The moment the Snowy Knight Emperor said this, they knew what he wanted to do. With regards to this, the 3 of them had different thoughts. Is the Emperor trying to rope in the Dragon King Hall? Ning Fengji's eyes were deep as thoughts ran through his mind. Right now, the Snowy Knight Emperor was unwell. Even many healing-type soul masters could barely maintain his health. From the looks of it, he didn't have many years left to live. While the Crown Prince, Xue Qinghe, was capable, he was still young after all. Whether he could subdue his subjects and lead the entire Heaven Do Empire was still unknown. Even if he could control the Heaven Do Empire, it was still uncertain whether he could deal with the Martial Soul Palace and the Xianra Empire in the future. At this time, if he could rope in the Dragon King Hall, with Lu Yuan's miraculous pill refining skills, the Snowy Knight Emperor might be able to extend his lifespan. He could also obtain the support of the Dragon King Hall, which had the abilities of several titled Do. This way, the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family would be more secure. Don't forget why the Heaven Do Empire was able to maintain its current status, even though its military strength was so much weaker than the Xianra Empire. Firstly, it was because the Martial Soul Palace intervened to suppress the conflict between the 2 empires. Secondly, it was because the Heaven Do Empire had 7 great soul master sections. More accurately speaking, the original 3 great soul master sects were all in the Heaven Do Empire. Among them, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect had always supported the imperial family. It was also because of this that the Heaven Do Empire could barely contend with the Sionra Empire. Looking at the Snowy Night Emperor's current behavior, it was obvious that he wanted to rope in the Dragon King Hall like he did with the Seven Treasures Glaze sect. But was it so easy to rope in Lu Yuan? As he thought about it, Ning Fengzhi couldn't help but shake his head. Douluo glanced at the Snowy Night Emperor and muttered to himself. He didn't have any prejudice against the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family. Before Lu Yuan came, his relationship with the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family was quite good. He even helped Xue Xing attack Lu Yuan, but was beaten up by Long Xiaoyao. Now that he had joined the Dragon King Hall and was loyal to Lu Yuan, he didn't reject the idea of the Dragon King Hall cooperating with the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family. In fact, he even agreed. Chapter 534. Sokka inadvertently glanced at the Snowy Night Emperor with a hint of mockery in his eyes. Do you think you're smart enough to rope in the Martial Spirit Palace? If the Dragon King Hall belonged to someone else, Sokka would definitely be furious at the sight of it allying with the imperial family of the Heaven Do Empire. However, the Dragon King Hall was the one he wanted to rope in. Sokka wanted to laugh in his heart. Lu Yuan was the holy son of the Martial Soul Palace and the future Supreme Pontiff. How could he rope him in? Sokka couldn't help but praise Lu Yuan in his heart as he scolded the Snowy Night Emperor. As expected of the Holy Son, his methods were extraordinary. Perhaps he had already anticipated that the imperial family of the Heaven Do Empire would try to rope him in when he established the Dragon King Hall. When the time came, he would take advantage of the opportunity to enter the center of power of the Heaven Do Empire. Then, he would collaborate with young Mistress Cher. It would be a piece of cake for him to overthrow the entire Heaven Do Empire. Sokka couldn't help but smile as he thought about this. He stroked his beard gently as he thought about the longevity pill. Since this item was refined by His Highness, then if Salus did his job well, he might be rewarded by His Highness. Salus had heard that His Highness was never stingy with rewards for his subordinates, so perhaps he would have the opportunity to do so. When he thought about how he would be able to sit comfortably in the position of Platinum Bishop for another 10 or 20 years after taking the longevity pill, he decided to wholeheartedly pledge his loyalty to His Highness the Holy Son and become his most loyal bootlicker. This was the truest thought in Sokka's mind. Douluo smiled in response to the Snowy Night Emperor's question. Since you want to meet with the Palace Master, I'm sure the Palace Master would be honored. However, the Dragon King Hall is currently in the midst of the competition. I can't say for sure when the Palace Master will be free. That's fine. It won't be too late for us to meet when Palace Master Lu is free. If Palace Master Lu is free, you can ask Sect Master Ning to pass the message to me. I'll be free at any time. The Snowy Night Emperor chuckled. All right, it's settled then. Douluo nodded in agreement. After receiving Douluo's reply, the Snowy Night Emperor was elated. He turned to Salus and asked, Bishop Salus, why aren't you saying anything? You don't look well. Could it be that you're not feeling well? If you're not in good health, I have a few good healers here. If not, Lord Lu of the Dragon King Palace has superb alchemy skills. If he can help you, maybe he can help you recuperate. Of the Snowy Night Emperor felt that the palace of Dragon King, of the Snowy Night Emperor, was the snow-off night of Emperor, was of Dragon of Emperor. Of the Emperor of Emperor, of the Emperor of Emperor of the Emperors. But to be sure, he wanted to use Sokka's to make the relationship between the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace strained. This was also the reason why he mentioned Lu Yuan on purpose. He wanted to create the impression that the Dragon King Palace and the Heaven Do Empire were on the same side. At the same time, he wanted Sokka to dislike the Dragon King Palace. He might not be able to recruit the Dragon King Palace, but he didn't want to see the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace together. He was just taking precautions. To be fair, the Snowy Night Emperor had lived for so long and was also an emperor. He had some tricks up his sleeves. Sokka naturally understood the Snowy Night Emperor's intentions. He laughed in his heart and put on a straight face. Emperor, you should take care of your body first. He turned his head away with an angry look on his face. That old man, Sokka's, also had some good acting skills. They're all actors. Let's see who is better. As for Douluo and Ning Fengji, they sat quietly by the side without saying a word. As for what they were thinking, only they themselves knew. On the stage, everyone from the Sanghui Academy couldn't help but swallow their saliva when they saw the Heavenly Star Battle team's best combination of soul rings. For a moment, they were trembling. Just as Lu Yuan expected, the Sanghui Academy didn't plan to use their 7-person fusion technique in the first round. So, they left 2 important soul masters below. The first round was against the Heavenly Star Battle team that the 2 big shots thought highly of. They didn't plan to win it all and chose to hide their trump cards. But what he did not expect was that the strength of the Heavenly Star Academy's team was actually this strong. Standing in front of them, he could feel the pervasive, imposing manner, as if he was facing a group of ferocious beasts. The oppressive force was really too terrifying. On the other side, the Heavenly Star Battle team was different. Their eyes were filled with disdain. Looking at the soul ring combination of the Sanghui Academy team, a soul ancestor and 6 soul elders, Fu Qinsheng didn't put them in their eyes at all. "Begin," Fu Qinsheng ordered. With a light flick of his finger, invisible sound waves turned into layers of sound waves and spread out. Hearing this, Wang Qiu, and Ling Wei rushed out at the first moment. Their bodies were like lightning as they pounced towards the Sanghui Academy team. The first of the 9 treasures is strength. The second of the 9 treasures is speed. Ning Rongrong recited the incantation, and 2 streaks of flowing light engulfed Wang Qiu, and Ling Wei. Every time the 9 treasures glazed pagoda had an additional soul ring, the amplification of all skills would increase by 10%. Originally, when Ning Rongrong was a soul grandmaster, her first 2 skills could only increase her soul power and speed by 30% each. But now that she was at rank 40, the amplification had increased to 50%. This was definitely a terrifying number. With Ning Rongrong's amplification, Wang Qiu's rank 47 soul power surged again, nearing the Soul King rank. Ling Wei's aura also increased greatly. A pair of sharp claws shone with cold light. He raised his right hand and slapped down on a Sanghui Academy student. "Jiangzhu, use your healing skill." Fu Qinsheng's voice sounded. "Yes." Jiangzhu nodded, and her first yellow soul ring lit up. Her first soul skill, Healing Halo, was released. A white healing halo filled the entire arena. This healing halo wasn't for her own people, but for the Sanghui Academy team. As for why, just look at the battle situation and you'll know. Second soul skill, Dragon Strength. Wang Qiu punched out and directly broke the defense of a Sanghui Academy team member, sending him flying with a punch. Even the 2 people standing behind him were sent flying to one side. Second soul skill, Raging Bear Claw. Ling Wei slapped down with his claws and slammed a Sanghui Academy team member who couldn't escape in time to the ground. The sharp bear claws left a deep wound on his body, and blood immediately flowed out. Chapter 535. These 2 fellows are too violent. Is there a need for me to make a move? Duguyan's mouth twitched as she watched Wang Qiu, and Ling Wei, who had been strengthened by the 9 treasures glazed pagoda, beat up the 7 opponents. "I don't think there's a need." Jing Ling suppressed his desire to make a move. Originally, he wanted to make a move, but after seeing their violent attacks, he felt that it was better for him to stay here. "It seems like Sanghui Academy is a little useless," Ning Rongrong said softly as she used her soul skills to support Wang Qiu, and Ling Wei. "It's not just a little useless, it's quite useless." Duguyan's voice rang out. "All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Jingling, you should go up too. I have to prepare for the final attack. As for Duguyan, just watch. Your skills are poisonous. Now that we're sure to win, there's no need for you to make a move." Fu Qinsheng said. Hearing this, Duguyan nodded slightly. "Then I'll go," Jingling said. Okay, go. Fu Qinsheng nodded slightly. Jingling's body flashed and turned into an afterimage as he pounced in the direction of Tsanghui Academy. Seeing this, Ning Rongrong pointed with her finger, and a flowing light wrapped around Jingling instantly. Jingling's speed increased greatly. After a year of hard work, Ning Rongrong had cultivated the 7 treasures glazed sex distraction control technique to the 4 apertures constant heart. She could use different amplification skills on 4 people at the same time. Wang Xiao and Ling Wei were both assault-type soul masters, so both of them had amplification skills on them. Jingling was an agility-type soul master, so he only had amplification skills on him. As for why he didn't use the last 2 soul skills, it was because there was no need to deal with Tsanghui Academy. As soon as Jingling went up, he entangled a member of Tsanghui Academy and suppressed him. Ling Wei surrounded the 3 soul exalts and beat them up 1 against 3. Wang Xiao even suppressed Tsanghui Academy's team leader, the only soul ancestor, and the other 2 soul elders. She punched them from time to time, causing them to spit out blood and fly backwards. However, Wang Xiao still held back. At least no one was seriously injured. However, if they were to continue fighting like this, even though they would win sooner or later, they might not have enough time. 1 minute. Fu Qinsheng sighed softly, and the second 100-year soul ring suddenly lit up. It was the second soul skill of the 6-stringed demonic zither, spiritual sluggish. This skill wasn't used against the physical body, but against a person's soul. It could slow down a person's mental reaction speed, and once a person's mental reaction speed slowed down, their own speed would naturally slow down as well. Under the control of Zither Sheng, these zither sounds with rich spiritual fluctuations filled the entire arena. Affected by the sound of the zither, the people from Tsanghui Academy suddenly slowed down. Because the Guqin music was controlled by Qinsheng's spiritual power, these Guqin music ignored Wang Xiao and the others and didn't enter their minds. As an outstanding spiritual-type soul master, Fu Qinsheng was still able to do this. From the very beginning, his spiritual power had already permeated the entire arena. Mental-type control skills tested one's control the most, because it was easy to accidentally injure one's own people. If the skill couldn't distinguish between friend and foe, then what was the use of it? After Fu Qinsheng's special control, only the people from Tsanghui Academy were affected. Ling Wei and the others weren't affected at all. Seeing that the people from Tsanghui Academy were affected, Wang Xiao and the others took advantage of this opportunity. Third soul skill, Golden Dragon Head. Wang Xiao shouted, and her small fist punched out. A golden dragon head about a foot long appeared above her fist, and the dragon head flew out, blasting the 3 people from Tsanghui Academy, including the team leader, off the stage. The 3 of them were hit by Wang Xiao's fist, and they spat out blood as they flew back. When they landed on the ground, they immediately fainted. On the other side, Ling Wei shouted, "First soul skill, Terror Claw's Addiction." The dark golden claws blasted the other 3 soul elders from Tsanghui Academy, who were slowed down, off the stage as well. Just as Ling Wei finished his move, Jingling also kicked her opponent out of the field. The battle ended here. The few of them didn't hit hard, but they didn't show mercy either. According to Lu Yuan, the people from Tsanghui Academy weren't good people. Furthermore, there was a 1-minute time limit, and the few of them were rushing for time. Naturally, their attacks were more powerful. Although the people from Tsanghui Academy weren't in mortal danger, they were all seriously injured. At the very least, they wouldn't be able to compete in the next few matches. Seeing this scene, their teacher, Serene, had a dark expression on his face. He looked in the direction of Lu Yuan and the others, and there was a dark resentment in his eyes. Serene. Lu Yuan's senses were very sharp, and Sherene's gaze immediately caught his attention. "I hope you don't want to die." Lu Yuan sighed softly, and a light flashed across his eyes. The battle has ended. The Heavenly Star Academy is victorious. Let us congratulate them. The moment the battle ended, the MC's voice rang out. Brother, brother, how long do we take? No one paid attention to the MC's announcement of victory. Instead, they all looked at Lu Yuan, and Wang Xiao directly asked. Looking at the 7 people's expectant faces, especially Wang Xiao's sparkling eyes, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, "Congratulations, you only took 59 seconds. Phew." Hearing this, the 7 people exhaled at the same time. 59 seconds? Luckily, we were 1 second away from full minute. If we exceeded a minute, we would have been punished. Ning Rongrong patted her small chest and said softly with a look of relief. However, although Ning Rongrong's voice was soft, many of the spectators and the people in the VIP area were basically soul masters. Although Ning Rongrong's voice wasn't loud, they still heard it. Immediately, the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. A strange look flashed across their eyes as they looked at Lu Yuan. This guy was a little too arrogant. He actually wanted to finish off the opponent in a minute. Furthermore, if the team members exceeded the time limit, they would be punished. What kind of madness was this? However, although he was arrogant, the Heavenly Star Academy really did have the ability to end the battle in a minute. When they thought of this, they couldn't help but sigh. The Heavenly Star Academy's battle strength was still strong. The angriest person was naturally Serene. His face was originally gloomy, but now it was as black as the bottom of a pot. Mother Asterisker, they had set a rule that the battle could not exceed 1 minute before the battle even started. How much did they look down on their Songhui Academy? Looking at his own students who were either injured or unconscious, Shernyen's eyes could not help but emit a fierce glint. Chapter 536. Elder Brother, how was Xiao's performance? Wang Xiao pounced over as soon as she got off the stage. She hugged Lu Yuan's arm, and there was a look of anticipation on her face. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile when he saw Wang Xiao like this. He pinched Wang Xiao's little face and said, "Little Xiao performed very well. No wonder you're my little sister." Hee hee. After receiving Lu Yuan's praise, Wang Xiao was like a little kid who had received candy. Her smile was exceptionally sweet, and coupled with her rosy cheeks, she looked very cute. Lu Yuan smiled as he rubbed Wang Xiao's head. He turned to everyone else and said, "Let's go, everyone. You all performed well today. Although your opponents were a little weak, your performances were undoubtedly very good. To celebrate our victory at the start of the match, I'll treat everyone to a good meal at the Star Blue Hotel. I hope everyone can perform as well as you did today." Yeah, Captain is so generous. Everyone cheered when they heard that Lu Yuan wanted to treat everyone to a meal at the Star Blue Hotel, which was the most luxurious hotel in Heaven Do, Imperial City. The cost of living at the Star Blue Hotel was very high. Those who didn't have any money to spare couldn't afford to go to such a place. Among the people present, excluding Lu Yuan, only Ning Rongrong, the little rich lady, had enough financial power to frequent such places. Everyone else, including Fu Qinsheng and Duguyan, rarely had the chance to go to the Star Blue Hotel. After all, the Zither sect wasn't a very rich sect. Dugubo was a titled Douluo, but he didn't have much money. Duguyan didn't have to worry about food and clothing, but she didn't go to such a luxurious place often. As for Jiangzhu, Jingling, and the rest, they were from ordinary families. There was no need to mention them. Hence, they were very happy when they heard that Lu Yuan wanted to treat everyone to a meal at the Star Blue Hotel. "Let's go then." Lu Yuan smiled when he saw everyone cheering. "Yes, Captain," everyone replied in unison. Under Lu Yuan's lead, everyone left the arena. Since the match was over, there was no need to stay. Today, only one division had been opened. The first round of the qualifiers simply couldn't be completed. At the very least, they would have to wait until the fourth division had been opened before they could finish the first round. As for the second round of qualifiers, it should be held the day after tomorrow. Therefore, Lu Yuan boldly led everyone to eat and drink. As for watching the competition and collecting information, there was no need for that at all. Don't ask. If you ask, you are strong. It couldn't be helped. Those who were strong could be so willful. After celebrating with everyone returned to the academy. Lu Yuan brought Zhu Zhuqing and Wang Qiu back to the Dragon King Hall because there was someone who wanted to meet him. The next day, in the Dragon King Palace, Lu Yuan took a sip of tea and looked at the beautiful woman in front of him with a calm expression. Hallmaster Lu, I've heard a lot about you. It's my honor to meet you today. The beautiful woman looked at Lu Yuan and smiled. Sect Leader Yi, I heard from Elder Douluo that you have conditions that you want to discuss with me face to face. Were they? Lu Yuan looked at the beautiful woman in front of him and asked plainly. It turned out that this beautiful woman was the current sect leader of the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect, Yi Lingsu. She was a rank 82 soul Douluo. It was rumored that Ning Fengji was the best auxiliary-type soul master on the continent. However, that was because the Seven Treasures Glazed sect was one of the top 3 sections. However, the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect only had 2 people. They couldn't even be considered a sect. Therefore, Ning Fengji was much more famous than Yi Lingsu. However, Yi Lingsu's auxiliary-type abilities weren't inferior to Ning Fengji's. In fact, Yi Lingsu's auxiliary-type abilities might even be more frightening due to her rank advantage. However, no matter how strong her auxiliary-type abilities were, she was still an auxiliary-type soul master. Even if she was an auxiliary-type soul Douluo, she still didn't have much fighting strength. Therefore, the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect situation hadn't been good all this time. Because of their frightening healing abilities, other organizations were jealous of them. If Yi Lingsu didn't have some tricks up her sleeves, she might not have been able to hold on until now. Therefore, she was a little tempted when Douluo invited her to join the Dragon King Palace. If the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect didn't want to be swallowed up, they needed someone to protect them. The Dragon King Palace undoubtedly had enough power. However, the Dragon King Palace was also a soul master organization. Although the Dragon King Palace's policies were good, and they treated their own people very well, Yi Lingsu still had some lingering fears after being pressured so many times. Therefore, she was always hesitant. After hearing from Douluo that the Dragon King Palace had a young palace master, Yi Lingsu couldn't help but have some thoughts. She was already old, and her life was almost over. However, her daughter was still young, and she needed someone to protect her. Just like how the other half of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect's direct disciples had to be a soul warrior, every successor of the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect had to find a soul warrior as their spouse to ensure that the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect's lineage could continue smoothly. Her husband had passed away, and she had no one to protect her. That was why she was in such a situation. Therefore, she wanted to meet Lu Yuan. If Lu Yuan was really talented, perhaps marrying her daughter to him would be a good choice. After all, the Dragon King Palace now had the support of several titled Douluo. It was already one of the superpowers on the continent. As the palace master of the Dragon King Palace, Lu Yuan's status could be said to be very prominent. Every move he made could affect the situation of the entire continent. It was not difficult for someone like him to protect her daughter. She also believed that her daughter was definitely worthy of Lu Yuan, as she had the Nine-Hearted Begonia sect's martial soul, which was even more supportive than the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda. Furthermore, her daughter was so beautiful. She didn't have to worry about men not liking her. Therefore, the only question left was what kind of person Lu Yuan was. Could he satisfy her wish for a son-in-law? However, she had a very good impression of Lu Yuan after meeting him today. She was very satisfied with this young man. Needless to say, his looks were definitely top-notch. In fact, he was so handsome that it was a little beyond imagination. Coupled with the ethereal aura of a banished immortal, he added a lot of charm to his looks. Yi Lingsu had to admit that she had never seen such a handsome young man in her life. Even a middle-aged woman like her, who was already married and had a child who was already 18 or 19 years old, was a little dazzled by him. If she were 20 years younger, she might have really fallen in love with Lu Yuan the moment she saw him. Humans were sensory animals. Whether it was a man or a woman, their first impression of good-looking people would undoubtedly be much better. Yi Lingsu's first impression of Lu Yuan was undoubtedly very good. Chapter 537. Other than Lu Yuan's looks, Yilingsu also admired Lu Yuan's character. He didn't have the recklessness and impatience of a youth. He was very calm, and his eyes were calm and deep. They were like a quiet lake, so calm that there weren't any ripples. When facing her, his actions were polite and courteous. He was also natural and unrestrained when dealing with people and things. The maturity and experience he showed was not like a young man at all. Furthermore, this youth's talent and strength weren't ordinary. According to Douluo's rumors, this youth was already a Soul King. Yilingsu had never heard of such a young Soul King before. This youth was a true prodigy. Also, the longevity pill, ageless pill, and other miraculous pills that were circulating in the medicine hall seemed to have been refined by this youth. Also, the soul tool that allowed auxiliary-type soul masters to have the fighting strength of a battle soul master seemed to have been refined by this youth. This youth's talent couldn't be expressed in words. In short, Yilingsu liked Lu Yuan no matter how she looked at him. The thought in her heart was getting more and more restless. Lu Yuan couldn't help but frown when he saw Yilingsu looking at him with a strange gaze. Under her gaze, Lu Yuan felt as if he had become an ornament, allowing her to size him up as she wished. Furthermore, Yilingsu's eyes would occasionally emit a strange light when she looked at him. This made him feel as if she had some bad intentions towards him. Lu Yuan was a little upset, but he did not show it. After so many years of experience, he could control his emotions very well. Unless he encountered something very important or something that involved someone very close to him, his expression would usually be so calm and emotionless under normal circumstances. Sect Leader Yi, what conditions do you have for asking me to meet you personally? You can tell me now. Seeing that Yilingsu was still sizing him up, Lu Yuan frowned ever so slightly and asked softly, "What are you talking about?" Hearing Lu Yuan's question again, Yilingsu finally reacted. She stared at Lu Yuan's face, and her lips curled into a smile. "I've long heard that Palace Master Lu is handsome and talented. Now that I've met you today, you really live up to your reputation." Yilingsu smiled gently and said, "This time, I do have a condition for meeting you. If you can fulfill this condition, I will be at your beck and call from now on." "Then I don't know what your request is." "Sect Master Yi, as long as it's within my ability and doesn't go against my bottom line, I can promise you anything," Lu Yuan said softly. "Hee, this is definitely within the scope of your ability, Hall Master Lu. Moreover, it's very simple to do. You just have to say yes," Yilingsu said with a smile. "Oh, what is it?" Hearing Yilingsu's words, Lu Yuan's interest was piqued. "Hee, what does Hall Master Lu think of my daughter, Yilingling?" Yilingsu asked with a smile. Lu Yuan couldn't help but look outside the hall. Zhu Zhuqing was accompanying Yilingling. Yilingling had brought Yilingling with her today. But because Lu Yuan and Yilingling had something important to discuss, Lu Yuan had Zhu Zhuqing accompany Yilingling outside the hall. Hearing Yilingsu's words, Lu Yuan was puzzled. What did this woman mean by asking this? But even though he didn't know what Yilingsu wanted to do, Lu Yuan still answered truthfully. Miss Yilingling is talented, beautiful, and has an extraordinary temperament. She is a very outstanding girl. Yilingling was indeed very talented. At the age of 18, she was already a soul ancestor. One had to know that she was an auxiliary-type soul master. To be able to become a soul ancestor at the age of 18 without any external help, Yilingling was definitely a top-notch genius. Moreover, Yilingling was also quite good-looking. She had a beautiful face, a graceful figure, and a pair of slender legs that were particularly eye-catching. The cold temperament she exuded was somewhat similar to Zhu Zhuqing's. If 10 was a perfect score, this girl would be at least a 9. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Yilingsu chuckled. There was a hint of joy in her smile. "I would like to betroth my daughter to Home Master Lu. What do you think?" Yilingsu asked with a smile. Hearing Yilingsu's words, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be stunned. What did this woman just say? "Headmaster Yi, May I ask what you just said? I didn't hear you clearly. Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask again. He suspected that he was hallucinating. I just said that I would like to betroth my daughter to Hall Master Lu. What do you think, Hall Master Lu? Yiling Su chuckled. Betroth Miss Yi to me? This time, Lu Yuan heard it clearly. He wasn't hallucinating. This woman really did want to marry her daughter to him. So this is the condition for Headmaster Yi to join the Dragon King Hall. Lu Yuan tapped his finger lightly on the table as he asked. That's right. This is my only condition. As long as Hall Master Lu marries my daughter, we will naturally become in-laws. Then, I will naturally be a Hall Master Lu's beck and call. Yiling Su blinked her eyes and smiled. Haha, Headmaster Yi is really interesting. Others join the Dragon King Hall as my subordinates. You have a good idea. You actually want to be my mother-in-law. Lu Yuan chuckled. What do you think, Hall Master Lu? Yiling Su asked. Lu Yuan didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, Headmaster, you should know that I already have a girlfriend. Furthermore, she's outside right now. Haha, I don't care about that. The strong are revered in the Douluo continent. It's normal to have multiple wives. With Hall Master Lu's status, it's very normal for you to have 2 wives. Yiling Su said, Is it very normal? But what if I say that I have more than one girlfriend? Lu Yuan asked. Yiling Su's expression changed slightly when she heard this. Then how many girlfriends does Hall Master Lu have? Currently, it's 4. Lu Yuan said. 4? Yiling Su couldn't help but frown when she heard Lu Yuan's words. For girlfriends is a little too many. However, when she saw Lu Yuan's stunning looks and thought about his shocking talent and identity as the Dragon King Hall's Hall Master, Yiling Su came to a realization. It couldn't be more normal for a man like him to have 4 girlfriends. It was even possible that the 4 girlfriends he had were specially controlled. Otherwise, there could be more. After all, even she wanted to marry her daughter to Lu Yuan when she saw him. It was hard to guarantee that the others didn't have the same thoughts. However, if Lu Yuan already had 4 girlfriends, wouldn't Yi Lingling be his 5th wife after marrying him? Yiling Su couldn't accept this. Chapter 538. How is it? Does Sect Master Yi still want to betroth Miss Yi to me? Lu Yuan tapped his finger on the table, a strange smile on his face. Hearing this, Yiling Su fell silent. She was naturally unwilling to let her daughter be the 5th child. But on the other hand, Lu Yuan was too outstanding. He was indeed a good match for her daughter. If she could marry Lu Yuan, Yi Lingling would have a guarantee for the rest of her life. The 9-hearted begonia would also be able to be passed down smoothly. Moreover, with Lu Yuan's current status, once Yi Lingling married him, her social status would skyrocket and she would become one of the top figures in the continent. There was no doubt that with the current prestige of the Dragon King Palace, if Yi Lingling could become the wife of the palace lord, even the current emperor of Snowy Night would have to show her some respect. Yiling Su had stayed in the Dragon King Hall for a period of time. She knew some news about the Medicine Hall and the Soul Tool Hall. The Dragon King Hall had pills and soul tools. It would definitely soar in the future. It might even become the strongest sect in the world. How could she not want to join such a large and luxurious cruise ship? Therefore, she was not only concerned about letting her daughter be a concubine, but she also could not bear to part with Lu Yuan. Her heart was very complicated. Looking at Yiling Su's silent appearance, Lu Yuan could not help but shake his head. This woman really knew how to think. She actually wanted to marry Yi Lingling to him so that he could protect the 9-hearted begonia. Furthermore, she could use Yi Lingling to elevate her status in the Dragon King Hall. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, was it so easy to take advantage of Lu Yuan? It had always been him taking advantage of others. No one had ever taken advantage of him without paying a price. After Dugabofu obtained the poison pill, he was able to control the poison in his body, and his strength increased greatly. However, the price was that he would be under Lu Yuan's control for the rest of his life. Look at him now, he is still helping Lu Yuan guard the medicine hall. Another example was Ning Fengji. He had obtained a soul tool from Lu Yuan, which allowed his direct descendants to possess fighting strength comparable to that of a soul warrior. But what were the consequences? The consequence was that the Seven Treasures Glazed sect would be restricted by the Dragon King Hall. Without the supply of soul tools, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect would return to its original state. After all, only Lu Yuan knew how to use soul tools. And most importantly, Lu Yuan was very disgusted with this kind of political marriage. If Lu Yuan was willing to do so, he could have taken Ning Rongrong in as early as 2 years ago. There was no need to hesitate until now. It wasn't as if Ning Fengji, that sly old fox, didn't have any thoughts of forming a marriage alliance. It was just that he was smart and took the emotional route. Wherever Lu Yuan went, he would send his daughter there, using true feelings to influence her. After all, people's hearts were made of flesh. Moreover, Lu Yuan was a person who could be persuaded by reason, but not cowed by force. It was easy for him to be soft-hearted towards women, especially those beautiful women. In the beginning, he didn't have any feelings for Ning Rongrong at all. He even rejected her outright. But from 2 years ago until now, Ning Rongrong's feelings for him were getting deeper and deeper. He saw it all. He wasn't a cold-hearted person. Faced with such feelings, he was naturally touched. It was just that he still had some misgivings in his heart. But no matter what, Ning Fengji's methods were effective. Didn't Lu Yuan know what Ning Fengji was thinking? No, he knew. He had always known. It was just that Ning Fengji's methods were brilliant and didn't make others feel disgusted. He wasn't like Yi Lingsu, who obviously put the political marriage on the table to discuss. This made Lu Yuan very angry. It was just that he was good at maintaining his composure and didn't show his emotions on his face. However, as his mentality changed, his tone became a little more forceful. Sect Leader Yi, I'm waiting for your reply. Lu Yuan tapped his fingers on the table and looked at Yi Lingsu calmly. A formless pressure instantly spread. Lu Yuan's voice sounded and immediately woke Yi Lingsu up from her thoughts. Facing Lu Yuan's calm, yet somewhat intimidating gaze, Yi Lingsu felt a rare sense of nervousness in her heart. Although she was an auxiliary-type soul master, her soul power was still at rank 82. But she felt a lot of pressure from Lu Yuan. This made her feel quite shocked. Looking at the young lord of the Dragon King Palace again, he seemed to have changed into another person. Originally, he was a modest gentleman, gentle as jade, courteous and courteous. But now, he gave her the feeling of a high and mighty emperor. He gave off a majestic aura that made it difficult for others to look at him directly. Was this the true face of this young man? Lu, Sect Leader Lu. Yi Lingsu opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but she was interrupted by Lu Yuan. Let's not talk nonsense. Sect Leader Yi, you haven't told me what you think. Now that you know that I have 4 close female friends, are you still willing to marry Miss Yi Lingling to me as a concubine? Lu Yuan asked plainly. Yi Lingsu was a little speechless when she met Lu Yuan's gaze. Ah, you want to marry me, but you don't want to be a concubine. Do you want to be a concubine? Sect Leader Yi, you're dreaming. Even Sect Leader Ning of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect doesn't have such thoughts. He doesn't want his daughter to be a concubine. I don't know where you get your confidence from, Sect Leader Yi. Seeing that Yi Lingsu's expression had turned a little ugly, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, To tell you the truth, although I'm a playboy with 4 close female friends, I still respect every relationship. My love for them is real. I hate political marriages the most, because relationships aren't something to be bought or traded. You want me to marry Miss Yi Lingling just like that? Have you considered your daughter's feelings? Or is it that this kind of political marriage has become the norm for your sex? As long as the sect can continue, sacrificing the feelings of your daughter doesn't matter, right? Lu Yuan looked straight at Yi Lingsu as he spoke. After being questioned by Lu Yuan, Yi Lingsu opened her mouth. She wanted to say something, but she couldn't say anything. To be honest, she didn't feel that her actions were wrong. This was because on the Douluo continent, for sects like them, this was a common occurrence. Even her own daughter, Yi Lingling, wasn't disgusted by her actions. This was because she had asked for her daughter's opinion, and her daughter had expressed her understanding. However, she didn't expect the Dragon King Hall Master to be so resistant to political marriages. Furthermore, she didn't know how to answer his question. Was she supposed to admit that she was sacrificing Yi Lingling's feelings? Although that was the truth, she still couldn't bring herself to say it out loud. Therefore, she could only remain silent in the face of Lu Yuan's question. Could it be that her charm had decreased recently? Yi Lingsu couldn't help but doubt her own charm. She couldn't even win over a young man. Pretending not to know anything, Lu Yuan purposely asked, with a hint of surprise in his voice, "Sect Master Yi, you mentioned a widow and an orphan. Has your husband passed away?" "Yes, my husband has passed away for a few years. All these years, I've been taking care of Lingling all by myself." Sigh, a widow and an orphan. Without a pillar of support in the family, I don't know how much suffering they've gone through. It's fine if I'm old, but Lingling is still young and has no one to rely on. Yi Lingsu said softly and sighed slightly. The pitiful expression on her face became even more pronounced. "So, you're still thinking of betrothing Yi Lingling to me? Since the marriage failed, you're trying to act pitiful to gain my sympathy? Woman, you sure have a lot of ideas," Lu Yuan thought his heart. As Yi Lingsu spoke, she was paying attention to Lu Yuan's expression. Just as Lu Yuan thought, she still hadn't given up on the idea of marrying Yi Lingling to Lu Yuan. She had thought it through. Even if she was only the fifth child, it would still be a great advantage for Yi Lingling. Was there anyone better and more outstanding than this young man in front of her in this world? If she missed out on him, would Yi Lingling be able to find a better husband? Absolutely impossible. So, even if her own daughter was the youngest child, she didn't want to give up on Lu Yuan, this peerless rich husband. It was just that Lu Yuan's determination about the marriage shocked her. She had no choice but to resort to this method, which was to act pitiful. Needless to say, her words were really sincere. After all, it wasn't easy for her all these years. When she said these words, it was really easy to move people's hearts. Looking at Yi Lingsu's wonderful performance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel a little amused. This Yi Lingsu had been playing tricks on him. Did she really think that he didn't have a temper? As he thought about it, Lu Yuan had a wicked idea. "I heard Sect Master Yi say that there's no longer a pillar of support in your family. Then, have you considered looking for someone to rely on?" Lu Yuan smiled faintly. "Of course. I can see that Hall Master Lu is very talented. My daughter also." After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Yi Lingsu was delighted. She thought that her seduction and acting pitiful had finally worked. She hurriedly spoke. However, she was interrupted by Lu Yuan halfway through her sentence. "Since Sect Master Yi is thinking of looking for someone to rely on, what do you think of Elder Douluo from the Dragon King Hall? Elder Douluo is also a titled Douluo now. Sect leader Yi is still as beautiful as ever. If you can get together with Elder Douluo, I'm sure it'll be a beautiful marriage. Furthermore, you have a titled Douluo to protect you. You and your son will have someone to rely on. How is it? What do you think of my suggestion, Sect Master Yi?" Lu Yuan smiled as he asked. This. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Yi Lingsu was stunned. She had thought that her seduction and acting pitiful had moved Lu Yuan, and he had finally agreed to marry her daughter. She didn't expect him to be a matchmaker for her. Furthermore, the matchmaker was Douluo. When she thought of Douluo's old face, Yi Lingsu shuddered and shook her head violently. "Why? Is Sect Master Yi not satisfied with Elder Douluo? Do you despise Elder Douluo for being poisonous and having a granddaughter? Are you afraid that Miss Yi will be bullied?" After seeing Yi Lingsu shake her head, Lu Yuan stroked his chin with his right hand and said, "Since that's the case, what do you think of the frenzy rhino, Douluo? The frenzy rhino Douluo is still single. He doesn't have any family or children. Furthermore, he's very clean. It's not a bad choice for you to marry him." Chapter 540. What do you think of my suggestion, sect leader Yi? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Yi Lingsu was speechless. Oh, sect leader Yi's standards are so high? Even the frenzy Rhino Douluo isn't good enough for you? Lu Yuan sized Yi Lingsu up. Sect leader Yi, although you have a great figure and a beautiful face, don't forget that you're a married woman with a child. The frenzy Rhino Douluo is more than enough for you. Don't ask for too much. I'm not. Yi Lingsu hurriedly tried to explain after hearing Lu Yuan's words. However, she was interrupted by Lu Yuan before she could finish. No, what? Don't tell me you don't look down on the frenzy Rhino Douluo, sect leader Yi? Lu Yuan asked. I really don't mean that. It's just what? Just that you don't like the frenzy Rhino Douluo? Lu Yuan tapped his chin. That's possible. After all, the frenzy Rhino Douluo isn't very good looking. If sect leader Yi is someone who likes good looks, then he really won't be good enough for you. In terms of looks, among the titled Douluo of the Dragon King Palace, Uncle Yin and Elder Long are quite good looking. Don't tell me you've taken a fancy to Uncle Yin, sect leader Yi? Although Uncle Yin has been married before, you've also been married before. It's not impossible for the two of you to be together. Lu Yuan tapped his fingers on the table, making a tapping sound as he spoke softly. If sect leader Yi really likes Uncle Yin, I can help you two get together. Lu Yuan smiled as he looked at Yi Lingsu. Thank you for your kind intentions, Palace Leader Lu. However, there's no need for that. I don't have any feelings for the bright Phoenix Douluo. Yi Lingsu rejected his offer. Oh, I didn't expect sect leader Yi to have such high standards. Even Uncle Yin isn't good enough for you. Lu Yuan clicked his tongue and sighed. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. A look of shock appeared on his face. He looked at Yi Lingsu in disbelief. Could it be that Sect Master Yi has taken a fancy to Elder Long? Elder Long may look like he's in his 60s or 70s, but he's actually more than 200 years old. His son, Yin Xiaozhe, or Uncle Yin, is already more than 80 years old. You're actually interested in him? Sigh, the world is really degenerating with each passing day. The hearts of the people are no longer what they used to be. Lu Yuan sighed softly. There was a tinge of melancholy in his voice. It was as if he was lamenting about how society was deteriorating. He also seemed to be extremely displeased and hurt that Yi Lingsu had taken a liking to Long Xiaoyao. Palace Master Lu, no, I didn't. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Yi Lingsu panicked and tried to explain herself. However, she was too agitated and did not know what to say. She suddenly sat down, and a layer of mist could not help but condense in her pair of beautiful big eyes. The people outside bully us orphans and widows, but I didn't expect that Palace Master Lu would also deliberately make fun of me here. Yi Lingsu's voice sounded like she was about to cry. Her tone was filled with grievance. Even though she was scheming and had some tricks up her sleeves, she was still a woman. Furthermore, she was a woman who had lost her husband. Even though she was strong, she was still weak. Lu Yuan's words could be said to have shattered Yi Lingsu's mental fortitude. Thinking about the sufferings that she and her daughter had gone through all these years, she could not help but feel sad. She wanted to cry uncontrollably. Isn't that because you played tricks in front of me first, Sect Master Yi? I sincerely negotiated with Sect Master Yi. But Sect Master Yi, you played tricks on me in every possible way. I'm also a human, and I also have a temper. After hearing Yi Lingsu's words, Lu Yuan's expression changed. The shock on his face disappeared without a trace. He regained his composure. Yi Lingsu glanced at Lu Yuan. The mist in her eyes was still gathering. All right, stop crying. I hate seeing women cry the most. Wipe it. A light flashed in Lu Yuan's hand. A clean handkerchief appeared in Lu Yuan's hand. He threw it to Yi Lingsu. Yi Lingsu took the handkerchief. She glanced at Lu Yuan with tears in her eyes. Then, she picked up the handkerchief and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. People treat me with sincerity, and I treat them with sincerity. However, if anyone wants to play tricks on me, I won't be lenient. Don't judge me by my young age. In terms of scheming, not many people can compare me. Even sect Master Ning of the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect doesn't dare to play tricks in front of me. Sect Master Yi, you're the first person I've met who dares to seduce me with beauty and act pitiful in front of me. Looking at Yi Su, whose eyes were still red after wiping away her tears, Lu Yuan said faintly, I know what you're thinking, and I can understand. After all, you're a woman who's been oppressed. Naturally, you'll be more vigilant. You're worried that the Dragon King Palace will be like other sections. On the surface, they're just trying to rope in the nine-hearted begonia sect. However, they're secretly trying to swallow your entire sect. Therefore, you simply want to marry your daughter to me. When the time comes, we'll become a family. Even if I have any bad intentions, I won't do it for the sake of my in-laws. On the contrary, I'll do my best to ensure the continuation of the nine-hearted begonia sect. At the same time, you can use the power of the Dragon King Palace to spread the fame of the nine-hearted begonia martial spirit. It's killing two birds with one stone. Although I've gained your loyalty, you've already become my mother-in-law. After all, you're my elder. Even if I have any tasks for you, I can't assign you to do them. In this way, the nine-hearted begonia sect will be protected and your status will be greatly improved. Moreover, you won't have to pay any price. It's a win-win situation. Although Yi Lingling's actions are small, compared to these benefits, it's not a big deal. What do you think, Sect Master Yi? Am I right? Lu Yuan tapped the table lightly, looked at Yi Su, and asked plainly. Hearing this, Yi Su kept silent. She did have such thoughts in her heart. Of course, in addition to these, she was really satisfied with Lu Yuan. Marrying Yi Lingling to Lu Yuan was indeed a good choice. Even now, she still felt the same way. Even the more outstanding Lu Yuan's performance was, the stronger her thoughts were. Looking at the silent Yi Su, Lu Yuan smiled and said again, I'll let go of the trick Sect Master you played just now. The conditions are the same as before. Moreover, I can assure you that the Dragon King Palace will not take anything from the nine-hearted begonia sect. Of course, that's all. It's impossible to ask for more. With these conditions, I'll ask Sect Master you one last time. Are you willing to join the Dragon King Palace? If you're willing, I'll naturally welcome you. If you're not, I'll see you out now. There are only two choices. What's your answer? Lu Yuan said softly as he stared at Yi Su. Looking at Lu Yuan's strong gaze, Yi Su sighed in her heart. She opened her red lips and said plainly, I'm willing to join the Dragon King Palace. Chapter 541. I'm willing to join the Dragon King Palace. Yi Su sighed and said softly when she met Lu Yuan's gaze. Upon hearing Yi Su's words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, Welcome, Sect Leader Yi. We're on the same side from now on. I'll hold a meeting to welcome you later. After today, Sect Leader, Yi can return to your post in the medicinal hall. After all, you're quite familiar with Senior Douluo. As for the plight of the nine-hearted begonia sect, leave it to the Dragon King Palace. Since Sect Leader Yi has joined us, we'll naturally protect you. You can rest assured about this. Upon hearing this, Yi Su nodded her head. She sized up Lu Yuan carefully with her beautiful eyes. This handsome young man was so pleasing to the eye, but his character was exceptionally domineering. Yi Su couldn't help but sigh when she recalled what he said earlier. She could either join and he would naturally welcome her, or she could refuse and he would send her away. He didn't give her a third choice, nor did he have much reluctance. The nine-hearted begonia sect seemed to be an ordinary force in his eyes. He didn't hesitate to send her away. She originally thought that even if this young man didn't agree to the marriage, he would at least loosen the conditions, and she would be able to fight for more benefits. She didn't expect that not only did the conditions not change, but she was also at a complete disadvantage in negotiation. There was no other way. The addition of the nine-hearted begonia sect was just icing on the cake for the Dragon King Palace. It wouldn't matter if they didn't join. However, this wasn't the case for the nine-hearted begonia sect. The predicament they were facing now was extremely serious. They desperately needed a protective umbrella to prevent the nine-hearted begonia sect from being swallowed up by others. Therefore, under such circumstances, they could only choose to join the Dragon King Palace. After all, this was relatively the most suitable place for them. In fact, from the beginning, Yilingsu only had one choice. What she had been doing was nothing more than fighting for more things and a higher status. It was a pity that she met such a domineering Lu Yuan. All her calculations fell through. Seeing that Yilingsu was sizing him up, Lu Yuan could not help but frown. What was this woman thinking? Sect Master Yi, why are you looking at me like that? Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask softly. Yilingsu sighed, then smiled and said, Lord Lu, has anyone ever told you that you are actually very domineering? Does Sect Master Yi think I'm very overbearing? Lu Yuan asked indifferently. Very domineering. His personality is also very strong. Just now, Hall Master Lu did not leave me any room for negotiation. Yilingsu said softly. If Sect Master Yi says so, then so be it. Hearing Yilingsu's words, Lu Yuan couldn't help but chuckle. Since Yilingsu said that he was strong, then so be it. After all, he was the lord of the Dragon King Palace and the holy son of the Martial Soul Palace. How high was his status? So what if he was a little overbearing? Moreover, a man should be strong. Could it be that he was weak and gentle like a woman? Lu Yuan thought to himself. Hall Master Lu is very open-minded. Seeing that Lu Yuan didn't seem to care at all, Yilingsu couldn't help but smile. This young man was not pretentious at all. Hall Master Lu, I have a question for you, Yilingsu said softly. What is it? Lu Yuan said indifferently. Hall Master Lu, what I want to ask is, if we don't talk about marriage and only talk about feelings, if my daughter pursues you, will you accept her? Or rather, will you fall in love with my daughter? Yilingsu's red lips parted slightly as she stared straight at Lu Yuan. Even at this moment, she still hadn't given up on the thought in her heart. She still believed that Lu Yuan was the best choice for Yilingling. I can't answer your question because this is just a hypothesis. However, there's one thing I can tell you. I only like beautiful women, the very beautiful kind. As he said that, Lu Yuan chuckled and walked out of the palace. What kind of reply is this? Looking at Lu Yuan's back, Yilingsu frowned slightly. So, did Lu Yuan mean that he would fall in love with Yilingling or not? She really couldn't make sense of it in her heart. For the first time, she felt that a man's mind was actually so difficult to understand. Sighing deeply, Yilingsu shook her head and followed Lu Yuan's back as they walked out of the palace. In the blink of an eye, another week had passed. Today was the 7th round of the qualifiers. The Heavenly Star Battle team finally welcomed a decent opponent. You all already know who our opponent is today, right? Looking at the crowd in front of him, Lu Yuan said softly. Yes. Everyone nodded. The name list for the 7th round of the qualifiers was already out. Their opponent was the Thunder Academy, a pretty good academy. Among the 5 elemental academies, the Thunder Academy's strength should be second only to the Godwind Academy. They were considered relatively strong. Today's opponent isn't weak. Furthermore, the Thunder Academy's captain and I don't have a good relationship. We have some personal grudges. During the competition, it's very likely that this grudge will affect all of you. Therefore, when all of you fight, be more careful. Furthermore, although all of you have better soul ring combinations, there's still a problem with the combination of soul masters. The combination of 2 support-type soul masters isn't very reasonable. It's fine against ordinary teams, but against the Thunder Academy, I'm afraid that there will be some problems. However, I still believe that all of you can win. The previous battles were all child's play. Today's Thunder Academy is your true opponent and also the true test of your fighting strength. Zhu Qing and I will still not participate in this battle. Everything will depend on your own abilities. If you lose, everyone will be punished when we return. If you win, we'll celebrate like last time. I only hope that all of you won't disappoint me. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Captain, don't worry. Just wait for our good news. Ling Wei clapped his hands and said loudly. Yes, elder brother. When the time comes, You just have to watch Qiu performance. Qiu will definitely beat them until they're looking for their teeth on the ground. Wang Qiu clenched her small fists lightly and said with a face full of confidence, "Hee, then I'll wait to see our little Qiu's performance when the time comes." Looking at Wang Qiu's cute appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. Yes, elder brother just has to wait and see. However, elder brother, if we win this time, you have to accompany Qiu to play to your heart's content for another day. Wang Qiu winked at Lu Yuan and said sweetly. Chapter 542. Of course, as long as our little Qiu can win, I'll play with you for another day. Lu Yuan laughed softly. Yeah, I know that you're the best. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Wang Qiu cheered. She took 2 steps forward and leapt into Lu Yuan's embrace. She rubbed her head against Lu Yuan's body, just like she did back in the Great Stardew Forest. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile when he saw how attached Wang Qiu was to him. He lifted his right hand and rubbed Wang Qiu's head, caressing her bright golden hair. As he caressed Wang Qiu's hair, Lu Yuan turned to Fu Qinsheng and the others. Qinsheng, I'll leave today's command to you. After so many rounds, you've gained quite a bit of experience. I only have one request for you. You have to ensure the team's safety while ensuring victory. I don't want any of you to get hurt. Lu Yuan spoke softly. There was a tinge of seriousness in his voice. Understood, team leader. Leave it to me. Fu Qinsheng nodded and said, Okay, you've always been very steady. I'm not worried. If the battle becomes intense enough, I'll allow you to use your 4th soul skill. Lu Yuan said plainly. Yes, team leader. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Fu Qinsheng's eyes flickered. However, she still agreed. Brother, what did you mean by what you said just now? Is there something special about Brother Qinsheng's 4th soul skill? After hearing the conversation between Lu Yuan and Fu Qinsheng, Wang Qiu, who was lying in Lu Yuan's embrace, lifted her head and asked curiously. She wasn't the only one. After Wang Qiu spoke, the rest of the team turned their attention to Lu Yuan and Fu Qinsheng. Come to think of it, they had never seen Fu Qinsheng's 4th soul skill even though they had teamed up for so long. Qinsheng, do you mind if I say it? Lu Yuan glanced at Fu Qinsheng. Fu Qinsheng nodded and said, It's fine, team leader. You can say it. We're all on the same side. After seeing Lu Yuan's probing gaze, Fu Qinsheng. All right, then I'll tell you. After obtaining Qinsheng's approval, Lu Yuan didn't hesitate any longer and immediately said, You all know that Qinsheng's martial soul is the 6-string demonic zither. This is a top-notch tool soul that combines both spiritual control and offensive power. Qinsheng's 1st and 3rd soul skills are offensive soul skills, while her 2nd and 4th soul skills are spiritual control type skills. You've all seen his 2nd soul skill, Spiritual Delay. It directly targets one's spirit. Those who don't have strong spiritual power will easily fall for it. It's a pretty good skill, but it pales in comparison to his 4th soul skill. Qinsheng's 4th soul skill is called Demonic Sound Confusion. It can use sound waves to directly attack a person's spiritual power, causing them to fall into a deranged and illusory state. After a long time, it can cause permanent damage to a person's spirit. It's even possible for them to become mentally retarded. It's also because of this that Qinsheng has never used this skill before, because its destructive power is too great. However, this competition is different. Thunder Academy is coming aggressively, and Yu Tianxin has an old enmity with me. He's definitely thinking of how to take revenge on me, and might even have designed a way to deal with me in advance. I naturally don't place him in my eyes, but you guys can't look down on him. Therefore, in order to prevent you guys from getting hurt, I'll allow Qinsheng to unseal this skill when necessary. Lu Yuan said softly. So that's how it is. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, everyone couldn't help but nod. So that's how it was. Oh, right. Yinzi, in this battle, you don't have to hide your poison anymore. Use it when you need to. It doesn't matter if you poison them. You could just detoxify them afterwards. After saying that, Lu Yuan's gaze drifted towards Duguyen. When she saw this, Duguyen nodded lightly. After seeing Duguyen nod, Lu Yuan slowly shifted his gaze away and continued speaking. Everyone is the same. You don't have to hide your strength anymore. If you need to fight, fight to your heart's content. You guys can be merciful when dealing with other academies, but you don't need to be merciful to Thunder Academy because they're enemies and not friends. They won't be merciful to you guys. Since that's the case, you can only strike first to gain the upper hand. Rong Rong and Jiang Zhu, you two auxiliary-type soul masters, have to pay attention to protecting yourselves. Don't be too far away from Qin Sheng and Yanzi. As for Jingling, what you have to do isn't to cause too much damage to Thunder Academy, but to protect the two auxiliary-type soul masters on your side. Does everyone remember what I said? Lu Yuan asked in a deep voice as he looked at everyone. Yes, everyone said in unison. Yes, not bad. When he heard this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but nod in satisfaction. He turned to Wang Xiu'er in his arms and said, "And you, little Xiu'er, Big Brother has something to tell you." "Yes, Big Brother. Xiu'er will remember what you said." Wang Xiu'er lifted her small face and looked at Lu Yuan with a serious expression. In this battle against Thunder Academy, the ones with the greatest responsibility are you and Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng needs to control the entire battlefield, while what you need to do is be a sharp blade that stabs into the enemy's heart. You don't need to care about anything else in this competition. You just need to target Yu Qianxin. No matter who comes to stop you, just beat them up as well. Although the blue lightning tyrant dragon isn't bad, the golden dragon is innately superior to it. What you have to do is to cripple Yu Qianxin, the enemy's strongest fighting strength. It doesn't matter even if you severely injure him, as long as he doesn't die. Do you understand? Xiu'er. Yes, Xiu'er understands. When she heard Lu Yuan's words, Wang Xiu nodded her small head and said with a serious expression, "Xiu'er is so obedient." When he saw Wang Xiu'er's obedient appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but rub her small head. This little sister of his is so obedient and cute. She's so lovable. All right, I think it's about time. We can enter the arena first. As he looked at everyone, Lu Yuan said with a serious expression, "Yes, Captain." Everyone replied, "All right, let's get ready to set off then." Lu Yuan said plainly. He gently patted Wang Xiu'er's head and said, "Get up, Xiu. We're about to set off." "Oh," Wang Xiu'er replied softly. She squirmed out of Lu Yuan's arms and returned to the team. Under Lu Yuan's lead, the group of people walked into the competition venue. When Lu Yuan and the rest arrived, the Thunder Academy's team had already arrived. When they saw the Heavenly Star team enter the arena, the Thunder Academy's team members had an unfriendly look in their eyes. This was especially so for Yu Tianxin. When he looked at Lu Yuan, the hatred in his eyes couldn't be concealed. His ferocious look made it seem as if he wanted to skin Lu Yuan alive. When he felt Yu Tianxin's gaze, Lu Yuan couldn't help but shake his head. In this world, there are always people who overestimate themselves and seek death. What should I do when faced with such people? Chapter 543. There is only one way to deal with someone like him, who didn't know his own strength and was courting death, and that was to beat him to death. Yu Tianxin thought that he had improved a lot, and his confidence was off the charts. He thought that he could defeat Lu Yuan in the team round, even if he wasn't as strong as Lu Yuan. However, Lu Yuan didn't even care about him. He was just a clown, and Lu Yuan didn't even want to attack him. Forget it. I'll let his cute sister play with him. I'll let him know that the blue lightning tyrant dragon is trash in front of the golden dragon. Yu Qianxin probably found it harder to accept being beaten up by his sister than being beaten up by him. After all, he couldn't even beat his sister, let alone him. This was trampling on Yu Tianxin's dignity. However, Hui Yuhao liked this kind of thing. Killing someone's heart was the most interesting thing. Don't blame Lu Yuan for being ruthless. Yu Qianxin could only blame himself for not knowing his own strength and for provoking him from time to time. Furthermore, he was from the blue lightning tyrant dragon sect. He could only blame himself for being unlucky. The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect was one of the targets that Lu Yuan wanted to eliminate, just like the Clear Sky sect. Yu Qianxin was from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect and was destined to be Lu Yuan's enemy. Lu Yuan never showed mercy to his enemies, not in the past and not in the future. Elder brother, that person is glaring at you, and his gaze is so annoying. Lu Yuan could instantly sense Yu Qianxin's venomous gaze, and Wang Xiao could sense it too. After all, those who possessed the Golden Dragon martial soul had the Golden Dragon's sensory abilities. Wang Xiao's sensory abilities weren't as sensitive as Lu Yuan's, but she could easily sense a gaze. That person is Yu Qianxin. Remember him, and keep an eye on him later. Lu Yuan whispered to Wang Xiao. Yes, I know. This person dares to look at elder brother with such a hateful gaze. I'll beat him up later. Wang Xiao clenched her fists as she spoke with an angry look on her face. She liked her brother the most. Since this person dared to stare at her brother like that, he couldn't blame her for being impolite. Xiao is so obedient. No wonder you're my good sister. Lu Yuan was a little touched when he saw how protective Wang Xiao was of him. I didn't dote on her for nothing. She's so obedient. Let's go, Xiao. Let's take a seat outside the arena. The competition is about to start. Lu Yuan smiled as he held Wang Xiao's hand. At this moment, they had just entered the arena. There was still at least half an hour before the start of the competition. There was no doubt that the speed of the competition was this slow. Every day, it would start at 8:00 sharp. By the time the ceremony was done, it would be almost 9 o'clock. Then, the first match would begin. They would be given half an hour to prepare before the match. The first match would only begin at 9:30 a.m. After the first match, the teams for the second match entered the arena 15 minutes later. It was about 10 o'clock. Then, the second team entered the arena, and they had to prepare for another half an hour. By the time the second match started, it was already 10:30. The efficiency was extremely low. In an entire morning, there would only be about 2 matches. At the end of the day, there would be at most 4 matches. Sometimes, there would be less than 4 matches. At most, there would only be 3 matches. However, there were 4 competition zones. It was possible to finish a round of matches in a day. After all, there were 28 teams. Each team would be paired up in pairs. There would only be 14 matches in a day. Okay, brother. Wang Xiao revealed a happy smile as Lu Yuan held her hand. Her pinkish blue eyes curved into crescents. She hurriedly moved her feet and caught up with Lu Yuan. On the other side, Yu Qianxin, who had been ignored by Lu Yuan, revealed a dark look in his eyes. This man is still so arrogant. He still doesn't respect me at all. Lu Yuan, I'll make sure you lose completely today. Yu Qianxin clenched his fists so tightly that they cracked. He looked at the backs of Lu Yuan and the rest, and his eyes revealed an ominous glint. Lu Yuan brought everyone to the waiting area. There was still about half an hour before the match. They couldn't just stand there. After all, standing was exhausting. How could it be more comfortable than sitting? The seats in the waiting area were the same as the resting area. They didn't have backs. The only difference was that the resting area was arranged in a staircase from the lowest to the highest, while the waiting area was flat. There was only one level. However, it wasn't strange. The resting area wasn't big, but there were many teams. The staircase could save space. Furthermore, they could clearly divide the area. This was beneficial to the arrangement of the matches. However, there was only one team in the waiting area. There wasn't a need to do this. Everyone chose a seat and sat down. Lu Yuan sat in the first row. Wang Xiao was on his left, Zhu Zhuqing was on his right, and Ning Rongrong was behind him. It could be said that he was surrounded by girls. He had no choice. Who asked him to be so handsome? He was so popular with girls. In fact, he was also very vexed about this. Half an hour wasn't very long. It passed very quickly as they waited. The second match of the 7th round of the qualifiers in Group A will now begin. Both teams, please enter the stage. The referee's voice rang out from the stage. It's time, Xiao. Lu Yuan patted Wang Xiao, who was hugging his arm and sleeping soundly. He was speechless. Wang Xiao's heart is really big. she can still sleep with the match around the corner. Furthermore, she's drooling on my shoulder as she's sleeping. But then again, she's still pretty cute when she's sleeping. She's already very beautiful. Coupled with her cute appearance, she's really lovable. At the very least, Lu Yuan was completely conquered by his sister's cute appearance. He was already developing a sister complex. Ah, it's time to enter the stage? Wang Xiao immediately woke up after being patted by Lu Yuan. She rubbed her sleepy eyes, as if she hadn't woken up yet. Yes, it's time to enter the stage. Lu Yuan tucked Wang Xiao's hair behind her ear. He pinched Wang Xiao's little face and chuckled. Wang Xiao immediately woke up after being touched by Lu Yuan. Brother, I'm going up now. I'll wait for you to see my performance. Wang Xiao said coquettishly. Go. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Wang Xiao smiled sweetly when she heard this. She quickly pecked Lu Yuan's face before following Fu Qinsheng and the rest into the stage. Both parties faced each other on the stage, sparks flying everywhere. Chapter 544. Where's Lu Yuan? Why isn't he on stage? Yu Tianxin's expression turned somewhat sinister when she saw that Lu Yuan was still below the stage. She had waited for so long to defeat Lu Yuan and wipe away her humiliation, but Lu Yuan wasn't on stage? You think someone like you is worthy of my brother's attention? Let me, Wang Xiao teach you a lesson today. A trace of disgust flashed across Wang Xiao's eyes as she looked at Yu Tianxin. He dared to look at her brother like that. She would definitely beat him half to death and let him know what cruelty was. Shameless boasting. Yu Tianxin clenched her fists when she heard Wang Xiao's words. Anger rose in her heart. Wang Xiao was indeed that man's sister. Her words were just as arrogant and infuriating. Whether or not I'm boasting shamelessly, we'll know in a bit. Wang Xiao's expression was indifferent as she looked at Yu Tianxin. Yu Tianxin's rank couldn't be hidden from her golden dragon senses. Rank 45. This was her rank. She didn't know where Yu Tianxin's confidence came from. Her rank was lower than hers, yet she dared to provoke her brother. The ignorant were truly fearless. Forget it. I'll let her know the power of my golden dragon later. Both teams, get ready. Begin. The referee's voice rang out just as Wang Xiao and Yu Tianxin were facing off. Both teams released their martial souls at the same time as the referee's voice rang out. A yellow 100-year soul ring and a purple 1,000-year soul ring flickered with dazzling light. At least 50 to 60 soul rings appeared on the stage at the same time. This truly caused the audience's eyes to light up. As expected, the atmosphere in the spectators' stands immediately became lively after both parties revealed their soul rings. 4 soul ancestors and 3 soul elders. Fu Qinxing couldn't help but mutter when he saw the number of soul ancestors from Thunder Academy. No wonder their captain, Lu Yuan, had specifically warned them. It turned out that Thunder Academy only had 1 less soul ancestor than them. Furthermore, Thunder Academy's team composition was very reasonable. Coupled with the fact that Thunder Academy possessed an extremely strong offensive power, they really had to pay attention to this match. But even so, the victory still belonged to their side. This was a betrayal of Qin Sheng's confidence in their team. Wang Xiao according to what the captain said, I'll leave Yu Tianxin to you. As for Ling Wei, he'll deal with the Soul Ancestor and Soul Elder with the Thunder Leopard Martial Soul. As for the Soul Ancestors with the Thunder Spider and Thunder Eagle Martial Souls, as well as the remaining Soul Elder, leave them to me and Duge. Jingling will be responsible for protecting the 2 support-type Soul Masters and keeping the Soul Elder busy. Fu Qinxing's faint voice sounded. Good. Hearing Fu Qinxing's words, everyone couldn't help but nod. Then let's begin. Just as Fu Qinsheng finished speaking, Wang Xiao stomped her foot forcefully. Tiny cracks appeared on the reinforced stage, and Wang Xiao used this force to charge out. At the same time, Ling Wei's figure pounced forward and charged towards the Soul Ancestor with the Thunder Leopard Martial Soul. Yin and Fu Qinsheng were naturally not idle either. One by one, they found their opponents. Azure glass from the 9 treasures. 1 is strength, 2 is speed. 2 streaks of flowing light entered Wang Qiu-er's and Ling Wei's bodies, and their auras instantly soared. Yu Qianxin, take this. Wang Qiu-er shouted as she pounced towards Yu Qianxin. All right, since I can't take care of Lu Yuan, I'll teach his sister a lesson. I'll let him know the consequences of offending me. Yu Tianxin's expression was ferocious as she watched Wang Qiu-er pounce towards her. Her dragon claws, which contained the power of lightning, swiped towards Wang Qiu-er. You're overestimating yourself. A look of disdain flashed across Wang Qiu-er's eyes. She punched out towards Yu Tianxin's dragon claws. Wang Qiu-er's fist and palm collided. A tremendous force was unleashed from Wang Qiu-er's fist, and she knocked Yu Tianxin's dragon claw away. Her fist struck Yu Tianxin's chest and sent him flying. It was important to note that Wang Qiu-er's rank was already higher than Yu Tianxin's. Now that she had the 9 treasures Glazed Pagoda's help, her strength had increased to a terrifying level. Furthermore, her golden dragon greatly suppressed the blue lightning tyrant dragon. It was normal for her to send Yu Tianxin flying with 1 punch. Captain, everyone from the Thunder Academy was shocked when they saw Yu Tianxin being sent flying by Wang Qiu. They immediately wanted to help Yu Tianheng. Where are you all going? Just as everyone from the Thunder Academy wanted to help Yu Tianxin, several figures blocked their path. Second soul skill, Raging Bear Claw. Ling Wei shouted as his second soul ring lit up. A huge energy claw slammed down towards the Thunder Leopard Soul Ancestor. Faced with this attack, the Thunder Leopard Soul Ancestor no longer cared about helping Yu Tianheng. He hurriedly channeled his soul power to resist. Lei Tian, go help boss. I'll hold him back. Lei Dong, the Thunder Spider Soul Ancestor, said to the Thunder Eagle Soul Ancestor as he watched Fu Qinsheng and Yin surround them. Okay. The Thunder Eagle Soul Ancestor replied. He flapped his wings and was about to leave the battlefield. At the same time, the 8 spider legs on Lei Dong's back stabbed into the ground. Circle after circle of lightning was released from his palms, forming a huge lightning net that surged towards Fu Qinsheng and the others. This lightning net possessed a powerful lightning power. Moreover, within the lightning net, Lei Dong could easily detect any movement in any direction. Once Fu Qinsheng and Yin were enveloped by the lightning net, the situation would become troublesome. You want to leave? Have you asked for my permission? Seeing Lei Dong's actions and Lei Tian's attempt to help Yu Tianxin, Fu Qinsheng couldn't help but snort. First soul skill, Soundwave Light Blade Slash. Second soul skill, Spiritual Delay. Fu Qinsheng's first and second soul rings lit up at the same time. Dense spiritual power instantly spread out and enveloped Lei Dong and Lei Tian, as well as the remaining 2 soul elders. Under the effect of mental sluggishness, their figures immediately slowed down. At the same time, the huge soundwave light blade formed by the first soul skill struck Lei Tian's body. Lei Tian, who originally wanted to retreat, was directly struck down. Why are you all in such a hurry to run? Yin chuckled. Her legs had already transformed into a dragon tail. As she swayed gently, it brought about a strange temptation. Third soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Purple Mist. Yan's mouth was smiling, but her hands weren't slow. Her third soul ring gently shone and a layer of purple mist surged towards Lei Tian, Lei Dong, and the few people behind him. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.